Live from beautiful downtown Bastrop, it's time for the Stage Select, starring Julian Titus and Justin Ham.
What could this possibly be? Seems a lot like a podcast. Wonder what specifically. Talking about video games. With your hosts, you're in good hands. Not more of the same. Now we'll jump right in. So expect the unexpected and more. Now we'll get grooving. There we go, who's gonna walk through the door? There just might be some treasure in this chest. Having fun with our special guest. Time for Stage Select.
With special guests,
James and J.J. from RetroFits.
and here are your hosts, Julian Titus and Justin Ham.
Welcome, one and all, to the Stage Select. I'm Julian Titus.
And I'm Justin Ham. Hello, I'm here. I made it.
Yes,
Yeah,
glad you made it.
yeah.
We are a video game variety show, and we are joined by two very special guests. When you fusion-ha them together, they are RetroFits, but separately, they are James and J.J.
Yes. Thank
Actually,
you.
we should probably, James, introduce yourself.
Oh, yeah, no, that you know what? That's probably better if
That's
we...
probably
yeah,
a good idea,
okay.
yeah.
Yes. I'm James Chin. I am the host of RetroFits, or one of them, I should say. That's sort of mean. I am one of the hosts. There's a whole story for that I could go into. It's got ups, downs, it's funny, it's got drama, it's got everything, but I'll do that later.
Okay.
Yes. And J.J.?
And I am J.J. Jones, who's the other host of RetroFits.
And much like you guys, I would describe as what we do as a variety show, just in that it's not taken super seriously while we're doing it, and that's half
Yeah.
the fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
But we do Let's Plays. We focus mostly on retro content, and by retro content, I mean stuff that satisfies both definitions of the word, as it's used colloquially, meaning not just older games from the past, but games that also elicit that style either visually or audibly.
Oh, okay.
Or sometimes we'll just play something because we feel like it, like that one Halloween that we decided to play Resident Evil 4, but with all of the best weapons and with Ashley in the armor, and we called it a fun run.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
or our most popular playthrough, which was Choo Choo Charles.
Oh,
I did notice that on your channel that
Yeah.
that one was like had some good traction.
how did that one blow up?
Because I tortured you throughout the entire thing and enjoyed it
That's
very
true.
much.
That's true.
You know, that was the thing, right? Like, isn't that how, like, you know, like the PewDiePies and Markipliers and Jacksepticeye's of the world
Yeah.
blew up was playing horror games and reacting way over the top to them in a way that I want to shoot myself every time that I see a clip of theirs.
I mean, I'm not super certain that Jacksepticeye was overreacting when he played Five Nights at Freddy's, because that game is designed to make you scream like a 5-year-old girl.
Yeah.
It's that's the whole point of the game. And if they
Yeah.
don't accomplish that, then they have failed in their mission, and that's why they made it the way they did.
Yeah. That's true.
So I was like super sheltered and didn't I didn't experience any horror for like until Resident Evil 1. But then once Resident Evil 1 came out, I got super into horror. And so flash forward, 25 years, and I've desensitized myself to it so much that like it's got to be something really special to get under my skin. Like,
Well, Resident Evil 1 still does for me, and the reason is, and this is a true story. When Resident Evil first came out, I got it because my friend got it on day one, and he was like, "Oh my god, like this game is awesome! You got to play it." And I trusted him because I was young and naive and stupid. Because I've never been a horror person, and anybody I've ever called a friend knows that.
Same.
I am not a horror person because
Nor am I.
I'm mostly like 85% of my bodily makeup is weenus.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I hear you.
I'm not good with horror.
Me
but
neither.
I got home and it was a school day, so I had to go out to Blockbuster to rent it, and it was already like 6:30 and dark. And my mom was like, well, you can't like go out with your friends because it had started to rain. It had started to rain really hard, like with lightning and stuff. And I was like, well, I'm going to play this awesome game and feel better. And that was the absolute worst environment.
Yeah.
Like I started to lose track of where the lightning flashes in the game were and where the lightning flashes outside my window were. It was a bad time.
That's full immersion, baby.
Yeah, I was doing this full immersion gaming back when you kids were not even born yet.
Right.
I'm the OG immersion gamer. I made my own VR goggles out of a sad cardboard box.
Well, I tell you guys what. This holiday season, we'll all get together and we'll watch Terrifier 3. Just get behind me and I'll tank it for you. Okay? Like I will take all the horror and you guys can just enjoy.
Why? I'm not going to watch it. It's stupid. Why would I do that? That sounds miserable.
You know what? Justin could be the rear guard. He's the guy that sits behind the group facing the other way.
Watching
for back attacks.
Yeah, it's insane. It's just
we need
nuts.
to work on our group meta.
Yeah, I'm always the person that watches horror movies and I'm like, why don't they just leave? Why don't they just? It's clearly terrible here. Why don't they just leave? Go.
Damn it,
go
Justin!
away.
If you die in the game, you die for real.
I mean, I guess. Then don't go in the game. If you're like, oh, that sounds awful. That's a bad idea.
I don't think it's ever explained in that movie why turning the console off doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, why would it?
All right. Well, guys, I want to get to know you like in a second, but we do have some pressing show business.
Do we?
Yes, show business. Justin.
I don't believe that.
Well, there's been a lot of scuttlebutt, around the auditorium, especially backstage.
Okay.
There's a lot of whispers about.
Is Mutant Snake getting back together? Is that what's happening?
No, it's just.
I don't know.
The show seems to be cursed. Like every episode has had problems.
I mean, yeah, but I've also heard those Mutant Snake rumors. I think they are getting back together, Julian. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, that's cool. I'll go check them out. Yeah. But yeah, there's been a lot of rumblings about a Phantom of the Stage Select auditorium.
Oh, okay.
Because every episode of this show that we've recorded has had some sort of issues. Not all of them are known to the listeners. Sometimes I'm able to fix it without them knowing. But we've had like all these tech issues, and I was talking to Morgan the other day, and he swore that like he was just minding his own business on the stage, and like one of those like ballast bags just dropped like right next to him, and he died. Not because the thing hit him, but just because he's a From Software NPC.
Oh, yeah.
But he was still very startled.
Yeah. Well, it's probably Ulysses S. Brandt. Yeah, that's probably who it is.
Okay. Not to be that guy, but do y'all remember like 5 minutes ago when I said that I really can't do horror?
Yeah.
I was kind of talking about this, and the only reason I'm whispering is because now I'm afraid the Phantom is real.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and that's the thing is we are like literally minutes before we started the show, like something happened to James's mic. So like the Phantom might be real. I'm not confirming that the Phantom is real. I just want to let listeners know that there's a possibility that we've got a Phantom.
Well, why don't we just leave then? What are we doing here? That's stupid. We should just leave.
See, if there
it's our auditorium, Justin.
Well, we can leave.
I mean, don't y'all own this place?
We can't just pick up and go to another auditorium. Like, we've got a lease here for another year.
I'll get a torch, and we'll put on our prettiest dress, and we'll go down in the basement or whatever, and there'll probably be a guy playing an organ or something, and that's
we
how
should
this
probably look for
solved.
him.
Yeah.
Just be sure to keep your hand at the level of your eye, just in case that like he tries to bring a noose, to the proceedings.
Is that how it worked? I don't know. I've never seen it.
Just fray some wires, just burn it down, and call it an electrical fire and collect.
Yeah. Why don't we do that?
that might be a potential solution. You know, again, I don't want to confirm because I haven't seen him myself. I just want to let the listeners know there are a lot of rumblings backstage about a potential Phantom, and the show does seem to be oddly cursed.
Yes.
I haven't gotten a ransom note or anything from any Phantom yet, and I think that would be the first indication that we do have a Phantom issue. But you know, just putting it out there to kind of, you know, that's a potential thing. You know,
what do you think their name is?
We'll monitor it. What's that?
What do you think their name is?
I don't know. You know, the Phantom of the Opera just went by the Phantom. Like that's all he was.
It's probably like.
Yeah, I think that actually was just his character name was the Phantom. I don't remember if they reveal his full legal name.
Well, what if
I
it's
think
like
in the
Dalton?
book you might get a name from his origin story, but like, yeah, definitely in like the play and stuff, they don't go into that.
Well, what if his name's like Dalton and he's just like, "Hey, how's it going?" And
What if it's just?
I mean, yeah,
Steve?
he could be cool.
Yeah, we don't know. Dalton might have he might just be like, he just built a library. He's like, "What are you guys doing? Like, been moving these shelves around. I don't know, and stuff keeps happening to you. I don't know." Dalton might be okay. You don't know.
He might. Yeah, this could all be just a weird coincidence. That is also a possibility.
Well,
well, there was that Disney movie Encanto where they had the guy that was just, you know, living in the walls of the house.
Bruno. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I aim to be the Bruno of my family in the sense that I hope that they don't talk about me.
You know, when you say it that way, that's a weird thing. I didn't know that was the Bruno thing. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't watch movies.
Yeah, so that's that. You know, just wanted to kind of address that up front. But, you know, JJ and James, I always go JJ and James because it just kind of flows better for me. But on the actual channel, it's James Chin and JJ. So, you know, I apologize. But
it doesn't matter.
You guys, this is your first time on the show. We like to do this thing, kind of a getting to know you thing. And so I wanted to like kind of talk to you guys individually, and then we'll kind of talk about you as a duo doing Let's Plays. But James, you and I kind of like connected first online. So tell us a little bit about, you know, you as a gamer, right? Like kind of how you got into gaming and kind of what, if anything, was like that moment where gaming went from like this thing that I do as a kid to this thing that I'm going to do, you know, as a hobby, you know, as an adult for the, you know, however long you plan on doing it.
So I initially got into gaming because I really, really loved arcades. And I would go with my older brother, and he was always like the guy that would like save up chore money or eventually like job money to get like consoles and games and stuff. But the arcade was really where I shone until he came home one day with a Sega Genesis. Because we had like an NES and we had games for it, and I would play it. But part of like what we were discussing just sort of in the preamble before we even started recording, I think, you know, was that arcades games in general for the longest time were able to use more assets and had more storage space for design elements and features. And I just got really into that aesthetic of being a gamer. But when he brought home like the Sega Genesis and we would sit down and we'd play like Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 and Phantasy Star and all these games, we would kind of just do it together, even for the one player stuff. Either I would play it or he would play it. And that was like our big hangout time. The growing up point, for me, because I feel like most people that are around my age, like within about 5 years of my age, live in this great sweet spot where gaming sort of grew up with us. Because, you know, you had like Mortal Kombat and Killer Instinct and like a couple of games that were like gory and like gory on purpose, and they were meant to be like, oh, you know, you're extreme if you play this. Like, this is for like older teens and adults. But for the most part, gaming was very accessible to younger people in terms of like design and like characters and story and all that. So around actually when we got a PlayStation and he like got Final Fantasy Tactics and Final Fantasy VII, and we started playing like those games and like other PlayStation games, like Medieval is a weirdly like most kids aren't going to get a lot of why Medieval is funny. You got to be somewhat of like a gross teenager to get why some of Medieval is funny. I mean, the dude can rip his own arm out of his socket and then use it as a weapon, and a ranged weapon at that, because it has boomerang powers. It's great.
Right.
That was sort of when I was like, oh, is this like for me specifically? Like, is gaming my thing? And then of course, like with PS2 and then Xbox era, you know, and PS3 and so on, like as it went on, gaming really wanted to reach out to more like of an adult mindset. So it sort of solidified at the PlayStation era, like, oh, this might be something I can do as I'm older. And then that feeling never left, because it feels like the industry sort of designed itself around making me feel like I never had to change that mindset.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a really good point. And it's funny for me. I'm right there with you. Like I felt that like the games were growing up with me. And then like after GTA 3, I started to actually feel that games were not growing up with me anymore, because like everything was trying to be as edgy, you know, a GTA copy as it could for a long time.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually said the thing, like I told my friends, I was like, you know, after the PlayStation 3 generation, I'm out. Because if games are just going to keep like trying to push the envelope in GTA places, then I don't care. Like to me, I had already grown out of it by the time we were getting to the Xbox 360. And then 2007 happened, and I played, because that year was Mass Effect, BioShock, and Portal. And I was like, oh no, never mind. Like we can do things with video games that I never even dreamed of. And I was like 1,000% back in, and I haven't even had that thought since.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I think all of us had that moment in our lives, usually around mid-teens, where we're just playing a game. And I say this as an absolute diehard super fan of Sonic Adventure 2, but where we all just sort of come to the collective realization of, careful, Shadow, might cut yourself on an edge. You know, it's just
right.
Like where it just becomes ridiculous. And and we sort of have to make fun of it to survive, less than like trying to be mean or anything else.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And now I actually feel that games are actually growing up with me too much, in the sense that I'm like, okay, every game is about like depression or like getting older or being a parent, and it's like, where are the younger developers to like, you know, have a fresh take on this shit? Like, if it feels like the industry is like starting to creak. There's no new blood coming in, and the new blood that does come in gets laid off. So like they don't have a chance to make their mark. And it's like, no, we need like some fresher, younger perspectives on this storytelling. Like this is getting a little sad.
It's possible.
Go ahead, JJ. I think.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say that. Well, I do like that there's AAA or there's the indie titles. And people, especially on Steam, can just be their own studio and make what they want. At the same time, AAA titles and AAA studios, they're there for a reason.
Yeah. And
is that, I mean, all the independent guys, they say that they want to have their voice, but if you offer them a job at a AAA studio, they would take it.
I mean,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I love big budget games, right? Like that's kind of my wheelhouse. But at the same time, it's like I want some of those big budget games to be made by people who haven't been making them for the last 25 years. Yeah. So they have like, you know, a different perspective or whatnot. Like God of War, I think it's a perfect example where it's like, man, God of War 3, like it should have just ended with Kratos dead and you move on to a different pantheon and a different main character, and that would have been fine. I don't give a flying fuck about depressed dad Kratos. Like that is not a thing that I needed to see twice.
No, it's good. He has, there's a
he's got the absolute best banter or in the God of War remake for PS4. It's just great.
No, yeah. They tried to punch it up a little bit in that one, to remind gamers that you don't constantly live in a state of cloudy depression, that you are fighting with every fiber of your being every second that you're alive. Mm-hmm. They do try to break out of it.
Well, that one also was like, hey, we can be mature. We don't have to have flashing tits every 5 seconds.
Yeah. Which is funny because video games have gotten away from that, but TV is like, they just took that ball and ran with it. They're like, no, wait, what?
Yeah,
people like seeing tits and flaccid dicks. Let's
wait. We could show tits on TV now.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you guys,
that's crazy.
So I got to say, as we're recording this, like they just released like the first season of Last Week Tonight on YouTube in its entirety, and I was not prepared for the amount of hardcore nudity in that first season of Last Week Tonight. Like there's a bit where they have they made an ad like a political ad for Mitch McConnell, and it's just his dick, like it's his bare dick, and it's uncensored on YouTube, and I'm like, I was not prepared for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why wouldn't you do that?
Oh, Last Week Tonight. It's too many of those episodes are still relevant.
Yeah, it's depressing. It's like, this is really fun to go back to, and nothing's changed.
Yeah.
It's actually worse. It's actually worse now. JJ, take us out of this depression spiral.
Don't make it spiral more. It'll be great.
Justin demands the sacrifice, and that sacrifice is our happiness.
Yeah. It'll be great.
For me, getting started with gaming, it was watching my older brothers play beach volleyball on the original Nintendo.
Okay.
Nice.
And getting a Super Nintendo of my own. If I remember right, I still have it somewhere. I think we got it from a pawn shop.
Okay.
Oh,
nice.
Like in the era of like it was actually on retail, so you went to a pawn shop and got one there cheap.
Well, it was out of the box, of course, because it wasn't a full retail one, but yeah, I actually don't think it had any of the wires either. Had to buy those separate, but yeah, got Super Nintendo, and I went the exact opposite of James because he was the bougie one. Sega.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yes, I was bougie and not extreme with 8 X's.
Right.
I only eat Doritos.
Super Nintendo straight into a PlayStation, and for me, RPGs and single player have pretty much been my jam for ever since. I mean, of course, played party games back whenever you could actually sit people on a couch.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I've just never been much into online. Much more, always been into the sci-fi fantasy genre, so stuck with RPGs.
Nice.
Yeah, that's actually, how we met and how we clicked so well. Back in the long ago at this point. My God, JJ, that was 15 years ago.
Oh, wow.
No,
At least, yeah.
No, it was 16 years ago that we met. I have actually known you longer than I've known my wife.
Oh, wow. That's insane.
Not by a lot, but I have. Yeah.
Now, we met because of Suikoden.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's the real reason.
Hell yeah.
We were both at an anime convention, A-Kon in Dallas, and I was dressed up as the main hero, McDole, from Suikoden 1.
Cool.
And colorful red vest. Yes, it was really.
Oh, you had the pants and everything. Like, you went.
The bandana.
You went out for that costume.
Hell yeah.
Had the bandana. Had a staff.
Nice.
And I was sitting in the food court, and he was the only person in the entire con. This is like the first day, and I'd been there for like 12 hours. He was the only person to recognize my character.
Hell yeah.
Including all the days after.
Yeah.
Yes.
I believe it. I mean, even so 15 years ago, Suikoden 1 is already pretty old.
Yeah.
And I would say even if you had been cosplaying as that character in like 2001, like the odds of someone like picking it out are, about like 60-40 maybe.
Yeah.
Well,
It was an obscure game whenever it came out.
The marketing for it was bad.
Non-existent.
Yeah,
Mostly. Yeah.
It was ghost-like.
that's one of the that's one of the super early PlayStation RPGs. Like that's pre Final Fantasy VII and the boom, right? Like, not that it deserves to be in this category, but it's in the same breath as Beyond the Beyond, just as far as like release window.
Yeah.
Now that's, again, you should never talk about those two games at the same time, because one of them is a like stone cold classic and one of them is a piece of unmitigated garbage. But they are from like the same time frame.
Yeah, I think I learned what Suikoden was because it was in some gaming magazine I read about, and I just remember the whole like 108 characters that you could get, and I was like, that sounds really cool. And then at some point, like a year or so later, I found it at a Hills, which is, you will never find one of those anymore. Yeah, that was a department store that doesn't exist anymore. And I think it was like $20 or something like that, because they were going out of business, I believe. And I begged to get it, and that was that. And then I printed off on however many printer sheets that I needed how to get all the characters, and just sat there and looked at that forever.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh,
one of
that just took me back to printing out.
Oh yeah,
guides for
from
games.
Game Facts.
Oh yeah,
oh my god! And it would take
exactly
like
what I did.
500
I did the same
pages
thing.
for the Final Fantasy IX guide that is still up to this day, because that's how good it was.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That was, oh my god! Actually, one of my proudest things that I had as a child. I say it's my proudest now. As a child, I realized how bad it was. I had the Prima's unofficial printed strategy guide for the original Suikoden, and about a quarter of the information in that guide is incorrect.
that sounds right. Yeah.
It was, because it was like, if you were reading the guide, like as the guide, like page for page, it would basically tell you, because I mean, spoilers for a game from 1995, if you care about that. It would get to the duel where you're running, where the main character, as I just say you, because that really is how the game makes you feel while you're playing it.
Pretty much.
Yes.
But like the main character is fleeing a major battle that you are designed to lose super hard against his father. And in the retreat, your guardian, Pawn, stays behind and has a one-on-one like duel battle with the father character.
Yes.
And the guide is just like, you can't win this fight. Have a nice day. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Now as an adult, I'm like, oh no, why would you put this? Because in the back of the strategy guide, on like the last 2 pages, it has like secrets and tips. And it says right there that you can save Pawn. And I'm like, why didn't you just put that in the part of the guide that I'm at when I have to save Pawn? When it matters, because if he's dragged off and killed, you don't get the super happy ending.
No, you sure don't.
It becomes impossible unless you saved before that point.
Yes.
And then you can't transfer your data to Suikoden 2 to get all the shit, because you have to have gotten all 108 stars.
No, I restarted the game at least a couple of times because of that.
Mine wasn't because of that. I always knew that little bit, but mine was always, the first time I played it, I can't remember the character's name, but it's actually something similar in Eiyuden Chronicle right now, but doesn't matter. There's one character that if you wait slightly too long to go get them, because you have to talk to the strategist, Matthew or Mathau, or I've never known how to pronounce his name. You have to talk to him.
Yeah, I was just called it Matthew.
Yeah, it's one of those. Too. It's spelled all fancy. You have to talk to him to get it to trigger. So you have to do it at a certain point in the story. And there's
a couple that in the first
Leon.
game.
It's Leon Silverberg.
Yes. Yeah.
It's his brother. Yeah,
you have to go to the abandoned village to get him and talk to him, and then you have to send a message back and then go back. I think something like that. But if you don't do it at the right time, and I think I at that point, for whatever reason, I was just like, well, I'll just wait until it kind of, everything is. I'll just go get them all at once and clean up, and that was the one I missed, and you couldn't get him because every time you talked to Matthew, he was like, "You ready for the final battle?" I'm like, "No, I'm not actually."
It's because the trigger for Leon, you have to go back to the abandoned town and talk to Leon first at the right time to trigger the whole sequence. So when you first get to the abandoned town, you're not at that point.
Right.
The trigger is not there. He just sort of sends you on your way and bids you farewell.
Yep.
You also have to have a level 4 castle, which is very late stage game, so it's very easy.
Yeah, like you're not thinking about going back to that town when you're at that point.
No, and it's the thing that happened to me was like I said, every time you talk to Mathau to try to trigger the next part, he would try to send you to the final battle every time. He was just like, it's time for the final battle. That was his only dialogue that he had. And I was like, oh no, I can't do it. I have to start all the way over.
Damn you, Matthew!
Yeah, I never got Gremio.
I remember missing the Master Smith because I waited till the last battle, and you have two people. You have Flick and Victor permanently added to your party, so you can't fit all 4 Smiths in your party in order to go get the Master Smith.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing that was infuriating for me was if you're at that point, you can't go back and get all 108 because you have to have them before you initiate with Matthew the final battle.
Yep.
Because that's how you... Again, spoilers. That's how you bring back the 108th star.
Yes.
Like,
whose death scene is still haunting.
Yeah, it's still, it's really messed up because like, and I'll be the first to admit this. The translation on the original PS1 Suikoden is, parts of it are a hot mess.
Oh yeah.
But the person who was doing the localization for Gremio's death scene was like a professional author of some kind because like he basically like turns it into like, you're the son I never had, I'm so proud of you, like as he's being eaten alive, and it's like a really, really powerful scene. And then you have stuff in Suikoden where the translation is broken to the point where nothing will appear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
great game.
On the way back from the dwarves village.
Right. Yes, that part is always my favorite. Because the text of the game or what was supposed to happen in the game got translated somehow. Either they skipped a line in the code or something, but it got the place of where you are or in the text.
Yeah. It was the trigger point for that part of the map to play that part of the story written out as though it were a piece of dialogue, and it actually randomly assigned a character's portrait to it.
Nice.
Oh, it's the elf. It randomly assigned Kirkus to it.
Yeah. I remember this now. Okay, yeah.
Although me and James actually, in our playthrough of Suikoden 2, we found the funniest glitch that I've ever seen in Suikoden. If you recruit Flutch, the Dragon Rider, because the glitch with the gate where you can push it.
Yeah, the Matilda glitch where you can like basically power level super early. You could do the Futch and Humphrey quest while you're there, messing around. So they become recruits way before they're supposed to be.
Yeah. Whenever you have to go to the college, Edward, it's got all that where you're supposed to have the young people in your party. If you have Futch in your party, you go to the college, whatever it has everybody saying when everybody's introducing themselves. His is complete garbage code.
Yeah, because he's not supposed to be there.
He's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
So the game doesn't have any reference for what it's supposed to be, so it's just somebody holding shift and hitting all the numbers on the keyboard.
Oh, wow.
So it sounds kind of characters. Like, the other people in your party are like, hello, ma'am. Hi. I have to be here. and then just like a long censored like nonsense. Like somebody just held bleep on like a comedian for like way too long.
Nice.
Yeah, just the standard stuff that you used to see with Barrett cursing.
Yeah,
Right.
He's just
or
like,
Sid.
it was like, hi, hello, I don't want to be here. Fuck you, you piece of fucking shit.
Yeah.
Right.
So JJ, what if anything, if you remember, was like a moment where gaming went from like being like something that was like a childhood thing to becoming a passion? I mean, clearly a passion, right? Like if you were cosplaying as a beloved character, you know, at a convention, that's pretty hardcore. So, you know, how did you end up at that point?
Probably just being able to get my own money and buy my own games. Games got it to the point where, yeah, I'm going to be doing this my entire life.
Yeah. When you started making your own money and you realized the thing you wanted to do with that money was buy more games, you immediately aged from like 16 to 32. you just in that moment you saw what your life was going to be for a very long time.
Yeah,
and it was good.
Yeah.
My first job was a carry out at Albertsons grocery store, and I would spend all of my paycheck every Friday at Game Fellas, which was the store that I would end up working at for 10 years. But yeah, my mom was not very good about teaching me like money stuff, which haunts me to this day. But yeah, like that was the thing. It's like as soon as I had a job, it was funding my video games.
So wait, the first job you ever got fired from was in Albertsons?
Oh
yes.
Oh, you got okay. Yeah,
I was about to say like that's the same thing for me and JJ. When I was 15, that was the first job I ever got fired from.
I didn't technically get fired. I just quit, but I was a courtesy clerk.
Yeah, that was the gross name they had for it.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, courtesy clerk.
Yes. To this day, like you know, I criticize how people bag groceries at the grocery store because I'm like, man, like it was drilled into me at my job, like you know, they would have tests, like.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, for me, it was, I actually went from Albertsons directly into Game Fellas because I worked there part-time for the holidays and they liked me enough to keep me. And so then I was like, hey, peace out. I'm putting in a 1 week notice because in Texas, you only have to give 1 week and I'm out of here.
Nice.
And, you know, before we move on, because I do want to talk about the Let's Play stuff, thinking about the convention stuff. So I just found out that there's a con called Kimochi Con in Dallas, which is not that far from me.
Okay.
And some listeners know what that means. Should I go? It's basically an anime convention, but an 18 and up anime convention. If the name didn't like,
I didn't know what that was. So yeah, okay.
Kimochi Con. It's like, I mean, it's definitely something you should try once if it even like slightly appeals to you.
It is actually honestly hilarious. Is watching hentai at an anime convention because they would have it at A-Kon and there's just so much heckling and it was just a fun time. Everybody was making fun of it.
The reason that the heckling was so good is because they weren't playing the Japanese with the English subtitles.
Oh, good.
They were playing hentai on a screen in 2008 with the English dub.
Nice.
It was beyond funny.
With the English subtitles.
Yeah,
as
so
well.
they knew what the original line was.
That's what you want.
Oh, I remember when that was a thing where they would actually get like actual porn stars to do the English dub for hentai. And, you know, not to take away anything from like porn actresses, but again, they were like on film actresses, not voice actresses. And, you know, the skill did not translate over, you know, especially when like they're having to make the sounds when they're not doing the act. And it was bad.
Gets weird. Well, I still remember the one that became sort of our tradition to blast with the like hotel door open so that everybody on the floor could come and watch. If you're a small child listening to this, 1, why? 2, cover your ears.
I say that a lot. Yeah,
but it was Bible Black because the English dub of Bible Black is some of the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Why is everybody French? Like, not everybody, but there's like a couple like of the girls that are like oddly French accented for some weird reason.
Yeah, with no explanation. And the actresses are like American. All of the actors and actresses for the English dub were just like American, and they were clearly only paid $5.
Oh yeah,
and like they were just like, read what's on the paper, and they're like, are you sure about that? Because I can read this.
Sorry, I know that one way too well, and the guy who plays the main character, like, there's one line in there that always makes me laugh, and it's like, "Oh, you magnificent bitch!"
Yeah,
that's good. Oh no, the one that always got me was it was the blonde girl with the giant ponytail, or I think. I'm honestly, the faces are starting to kind of blend together. I'm at that age where, like, oh man, I haven't seen this in so long that I'm starting to forget parts of it that might be important if I ever want to talk about it again. But the line that will stay with me until I die was, my butt is filled with all your dick. And I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
This can't be what was written on the page when you started talking. Yeah. This had to be like you were goofing around in the sound booth, and the guy was just like, ha ha, I got it.
That's good dialogue.
It's like all the congratulations, one of the outtakes from Lunar 2 slipped into the actual game. There we are.
The one that I remember, I don't remember the name of it, but it was like a revenge hentai where this guy gets almost killed by all these different girls, and so he goes around kidnapping them and punishing them, and then in weird, sexual ways, of course.
It's an S&M show.
Yeah, kind of. But he was also a delivery driver, and he had this cardboard box that he would put the girls in to take them after he kidnapped them. And every time it came on scene, all of us were just chanting, box, 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 box. It was just some of the funniest shit.
It's also what I chant whenever I'm playing Death Stranding, like when I go to pick up some delivery.
That sounds right. Yeah. Sounds right.
In short, with no real experience of it firsthand, I would say that if it's something that actually interests you, even on a like small level, like just pure curiosity, you might as well try it once. I mean, you might end up meeting cool people and having a good time and having a good laugh with everybody, or you might just go and have an incredible laugh at the ridiculousness of it all and then never go again, but it makes an incredible story.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, but it would be funny for the show, though.
It would be funny for the show. Now you need like a mobile setup so that you can make some recordings while you're there. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, it would be funny and good for the show is how we ended up playing Quest 64. But that's a story for another day.
Now, actually, because I am curious about how you guys, got into like the Let's Play thing. Like how did that start? Like, was there like a particular thing that inspired you to do it, or like was this just like?
Yeah. So the story of it begins long before I asked JJ to do it with me, because I wanted to. The original idea was that I wanted to do it like locally. I wanted to actually sit on a couch with a friend or friends and play these games as though we were sitting next to each other, because the whole idea from the get-go was like I wanted to play older games and retro games, and I was like, oh, RetroFits, because the real origin of that is that I was in college for the second time. I've dropped out a lot in college.
That's fair.
And I remember I was sitting in the library. I was in like the computer area, and I was in a particularly bad place, like just a really dark place mentally. And this is something that I do talk about on the show for each of our finales. We always end it with like a call for, better understanding of, mental health, and how to get help if you need it, and how to reach out for help if you're not sure how, and things that, I think are important, because what pulled me out of that like really dark place that I've never actually been as bad as I was at that moment since, was I was on YouTube, and it was just like, I was like, what's going to make me laugh? An old ass Ego Raptor cartoon. Like, I'm just going to watch like Metal Gear Awesome or something, I can't sit here and try to write my paper like this, or I'm just going to get worse. And I watched Metal Gear Awesome and I giggled a little bit, but I still just didn't really have like a full emotional range back. And in the suggested videos, it had like an episode of Game Grumps where they were playing the Shadow the Hedgehog game where he like has guns and like is running around. And it was it was like Game Grumps, Shadow the Hedgehog. And I'm like, why is this suggested for me? Who the fuck are Game Grumps? And I just clicked on it out of pure morbid curiosity. And I sat there for what must have been 4 hours and watched the entire playthrough laughing like a complete idiot. Yeah. And I was just like, I was kind of saved in that moment from like a real bad place. And I was like, I am so mad now that everybody I told I wanted to do this when I was like 12 and 13 and 14 and 16 and then again at 18 and 19 and 20 would only tell me how I needed to find something that would actually make money and support me and be a real job. I am so mad about that now. And I was like, I mean, I'm too late to get on like the ground floor of this, but I kind of just want to do this because this is the kind of gaming that has since disappeared from like the histories. Like, people just don't sit down together on a couch and play games anymore like these guys do. And I want to make, a show that has that same very laid back, very easygoing, don't take this super seriously kind of vibe to remind people that like, you could still do this, you could still make this happen if you really want to. And if you don't, if you just need to get, that feeling back for a minute, then you will do it. And you could come and hang out with us and it's totally fine. And so I got some friends together and I tried the initial stages of making it. And for a few years, I just kind of floundered on it. Not really sure where to go. And then I got, that's when I moved out to Albuquerque. And I've been living out here in New Mexico for a while with my wife. And, I met some people who had a similar interest in like making a show like that a real thing. And it wasn't just me like trying to hound people like, hey, can you be available on this day to do this with me? Like, hey, how am I supposed to be able to do this? It was much more of a collaborative effort. The initial thing that we created together is no longer available because this is one of those, like, we've been mostly on ups. This is where the story takes a downturn and the trauma starts to happen. We filmed a bunch of stuff. We recorded playing Phantasy Star 4 for a bit. We recorded some Yoshi's Island. We recorded Kirby's Dream Course. Like, some basic stuff and some stuff we could play together. Sort of on and off. We did an entire playthrough of Spy Fox 3. Okay. Just because we wanted to do like a point and click adventure game, so we found like one of the most childish ones that would run on my like ancient computer. Okay. and we played through it and it was fun, but and this is some true crime RetroFits background. One of us is in jail And it's not me, and it's not another guy whose name I won't mention. I'll just say this guy's real name on the internet because he's an actual criminal. It was Brandon. Not that you have any way of looking that up. Like I said, when I found out about it,
Brandon, God damn it.
Yeah, I had to nuke the entire channel at that point because it was at a point in time where when it happened that I was like, you know, we were still in the midst of COVID and everyone was inside and there wasn't a whole lot of like person to person contact. And I was texting one of our mutual friends. I was like, hey, have you heard from Brandon? Like, I've been texting him. I've been trying to reach out to him because he's been editing like a couple of episodes. I haven't heard back in like a couple of months. And my friend, texted me back and this was it. Word for word was, oh, you didn't hear?
Oh boy.
And I was like, hear what? He said, just Google his name and Albuquerque. I don't really know how to tell you this. And to spare people the suspense and the Google search, essentially he was arrested, and one of the charges was like sexual misconduct with a minor under 3 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Which is its own special category of charge. That's how I know that detail.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit. Like, my wife has a government job. I cannot have this associate, like, this cannot be a thing. I went onto YouTube and deleted everything. And
no, you gotta nuke it from space. It's the only way to be sure.
Yeah, I gotta drop one of the rods from God, like, on myself at this point to delete it.
I was actually working in Hawaii at the time for a travel job, and he had posted a drunken rant on there. I had done a couple of videos, which fortunately he didn't nuke everything that was on the channel.
No, No, I had to nuke, like, everything that we did together with that guy.
Yeah.
Like, and erase it all. And yeah, the night that I found out about it, I finished off close to an entire fifth of some really bad vodka. Just, like, just really gross rot gut. And I was like, yeah, I did just, like, a live thing for like the 2 people that maybe knew that show existed, where I was just like going off on how stupid I thought people were and how this whole endeavor was bullshit. And I can't believe that like I trusted people to do this. And my wife actually found me like, and she was like,
I texted it as soon as I saw it. Fortunately, he was already okay by that point.
Yeah, fortunately I was okay by that point. But when my wife found me, she was like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was just like not able to form full sentences, but I was like, Brandon got arrested. He's a child molester. And she was like, okay, come on, let's get you up. And she instantly knew like how to treat somebody who was both drunk and in that really bad place.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, we got to get you into bed. Here's the trash can. It's right here. You're going to need it. No, stay on your side. Stay on your side.
Yeah.
And, you know, and for about a week, I just did not know what to do from that point. And again, my wife, who I keep saying my wife. So on the show, even we refer to her as Dr. Wife. That's how she wants to be presented on the internet. She doesn't want to have her real name on there. So I respect that.
It's good.
And,
no, I always said that I wanted to marry a doctor so that I could call her Dr. Mrs. the Titus.
Nice. That's great.
Nice.
Yeah, that was the origin idea of Dr. Wife too. Yeah. We love the Venture Brothers. And it was her idea again. She was like, James, just don't give up on this. This is something you worked really hard for years to finally materialize. Who is someone that you trust? And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, like someone I trust? That's like so many people. What are you talking about? She's like, no. I mean somebody who you know for a fact, like, would never ever put you in this situation under any circumstances. No matter how bad they were in their life, they would not, like, bring this back on you. And that's when I called JJ and I was like, do you want to just do this show with me? Like, and at the time I was like, okay, JJ was the first person I called, but I was still in that like sort of messed up mindset of like, I need to make this mine, like my own thing. You know, like I'm going to be the main host. JJ is going to be on because the main like big thing I want to do first is play Suikoden, which we both love. And that was our first playthrough. And those episodes still have like with JJ Jones, like in parentheses on the title, and the intro call does not have his name like on it. Right. Because I was still in that mindset of like, no, this is something, if I'm going to make it real, I have to do it on my own. Somewhere around the middle of Suikoden 2, the playthrough, I was just like, nah, it's going to be the two of us. We're just going to do this together until we're both like 95 and then we'll die on camera. It's going to be great.
There you go.
We'll die on Twitch together.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's going to be a contractual obligation that our death has to be filmed and uploaded.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. And since then it's been like one really incredible like adventure after another on the show, because we're both retro RPG enthusiasts, especially like JRPGs. So like after Suikoden 2, it was like, okay, well, where do we go from here? And now we have like Legend of Legaia, and we did a full playthrough of Phantasy Star 4. We did Chrono Trigger, where in like the second or third episode, I put out an acknowledgement to both Dr. Wife and the Well-Read Mage for inspiring me to, reminding me that Chrono Trigger was an amazing game, because now we're going to play it and mess with it, and it's going to become silly.
Yeah.
And we had an entire episode where we did nothing but talk about Star Trek.
Yeah, there's literally, if you go through, because I'm meticulous, and every episode for every playthrough is in a playlist, like in order. I curate it. There's just one episode of Chrono Trigger that's called the one where we talk about Star Trek the whole time.
No, that's what I want. Yeah,
that's good.
That was a legit cool one. I think at one point I made an allusion to the first slash fiction ever written which was about Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock, and how it had to have been true in the universe of the show. Like, it had to have been true. Like, maybe they weren't like a couple, but that's just because they had an open thing.
Yeah, right.
Fun fact. The text for those original ones, any sex scene was written in yellow text, and that's why sex scenes have been called lemons.
Oh, yeah.
Fan fiction, mostly.
Interesting. I did not know that.
There's a lot of that type of stuff, or like a lot of like what is considered like kind of core, early-ish internet stuff that I missed out on, and just wasn't like I have heard of slash fic. I've never been there, and yeah. So like things like I just found out recently that the term wincest. I always thought that was the term for like, when the stepbrother gets with the stepsister and it's a happy ending. But it's like, no, it actually comes from supernatural fan fiction where the Winchester brothers get together because it's Winchester cest.
Yeah,
I was like, oh,
that's Wincest.
Okay. I've also seen it in the context of twincest, wincest.
Yeah. A lot of that.
There's God. As a society, there are some areas that we need to start examining the why of the thing more so than the what.
Look, we're probably going to be extinct before we actually reach old age. So it's fine.
True. Our kids, if we have kids, they will probably not like live out a full life.
Or just you should probably just like start them playing Fallout like as soon as they can hold a controller, that they can train.
We got the Fallout TV show now. We have the Congress has the roadmap of what to do.
Yeah, there you
should be fine.
Yeah, exactly. And that thing is, don't give a ton of like overall world-ending power to the world's worst corporations.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh wait.
Whoops.
Oh wait.
Whoops.
So
Oopsie doodles.
that's a really heartwarming story.
That's a great
like
story.
It's kind of, part of that is kind of, the genesis for this show because, Justin and I were on Nerds Without Pants together, but Justin came on as the final host of 3 or wait,
Yeah.
4.
What? Oh yeah.
Because there was Rob, then Angelo. Well, Rob and Patrick, and then Angelo, and then you.
Yeah.
And like, there's a lot of reasons why we ended that show, but like, I think part of it was that like, it wasn't really our show, right? It had kind of become my show because I had been there from the beginning and I was still there, but it wasn't, I don't think Justin ever felt like any sense of ownership over it. And it was like, let's just do a new thing. And then also like, now it's our thing. And it's also funny, like, as I started the show and I started to name the episodes, and I was like, well, we're definitely going into triple digits on this. So first episode is 001, but also I'm like, I'm going to be doing this well into my 50s. That's an interesting thought. And sometimes I like, Justin doesn't know this, but I've had this thought that like, if Justin ever like, had to like move or he needed a place to stay, I'm like, dude, just come out here. Like, and we'll just record, we'll record everything live, like, or in person. It'll be awesome. Like,
I mean,
as long as one of us can hold a controller, JJ and I are probably going to be doing this until neither one of us can do that.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm
fully
at.
Down for that.
I swear, I'll be 98. I'll be in like a shabby retirement home, and I'll just be like, "You goddamn noobs! Don't make me come out there and smoke you."
I'll show you how to get good.
Where's my Dr. Dre CD? Grandpa, what's a CD? Oh God.
Yeah.
Well, Justin, did you have your?
I do.
Your thing. Okay.
I do have my thing, Julian. But first, I would like to make one report. I think the Phantom is real. It was very nothing bad. But while somebody was talking, my microphone stand all of a sudden just was starting to fall over, for no reason. So I just wanted to throw that up there. Yes. Yeah. Well, now
Phantom Watch 2024.
Yes, that's what exactly.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Now that we've learned the tale of you guys, it's time for you to pay the piper. I don't really know how to introduce this segment. I have 5 questions for both of you, and I also don't have a good sound drop, so here it is.
Fuck 'em.
Welcome.
Nice.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Question number 1. Finish this verse. Baby, baby, it looks like it's going to hail. Baby, baby, it looks like it's going to hail. And now you finish it.
Wait, like I have to finish it
you gotta
using
know
the original lyrics? I can't just make up
You can be
something.
close enough. I will accept close enough. That's fine.
Okay, well, I'm going to be honest with you. No matter what I say at this point, it's going to be so far off. So I might as well just go full in. JJ, before I start, do you actually know these lyrics?
Yeah. I'm just reminded of that. It's cold outside. And so that's where my mind went.
That must have come out long before whatever song these lyrics are from. So, baby, it looks like it's gonna hail.
Yes.
Baby, baby, it looks like it's gonna hail.
Yes.
Oh, hail. We're going to hail.
I'm sorry
Hail,
that is not really close, but I wish that was the lyrics.
I actually respect that.
Clearly, neither of you are very keen on the Brian Setzer Orchestra, and I respect you both more for that.
That's fair.
The lyrics are, "You better come inside, let me teach you how to jive and wail." Now you know.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh my God, no, I do think I know that song now.
Yeah,
Thank you for not setting me up for absolute failure, though.
You're welcome.
That was nice of you to give me the out that I do not remember every nook and cranny of that song.
Oh yeah, no, but who does? Who does? And thank God.
This is just Justin Ham's brain. That's where this lives.
Listen, the Brian Setzer Orchestra lives on in there for some reason. You ever seen that man's haircut? It's ridiculous.
Where my mind went was actually a web comic called
What?
Better with Group or something.
Looking for Group.
Looking for Group, yes.
Yeah.
There's a warlock that he gets dumped into this town. He's unconscious. He wakes up. Everybody's going, hail, hail, just is greeting him. So he goes, hail, and then summons these gigantic
the gigantic ice storm.
Hailstones and just wipes everybody out.
I don't know if this will show up well on the video that we're doing, but here's Brian Setzer's hair.
That's Brian Setzer.
I remember Brian Setzer's hair.
Yeah. That's pretty
That's
unforgettable.
mostly for JJ, because I'm fairly certain you don't have any clue what he looks like. And once I've seen something terrifying and horrible, obviously I have to share it with JJ because he does not hesitate to do that to me.
Right. That's fair.
Speaking of which,
no. What'd you do? What?
Uh-oh.
I feel like, see, the anticipation now is what's going to kill me, because when you say like here, I'm like, I got to pick up my phone. What if you? Oh, Lordy Jesus!
I'm sorry. Whatever happened, I'm sorry.
I'm just assuming that it's a gift from Bible Black. That's what I choose to believe.
That would be more. That would be much more appealing than what I was sent.
Well, we were talking about ghosts earlier, and my mind went automatically to a ghost spider. Because, James just loves spiders.
Okay.
They're my favorite. Everybody knows. It's just a thing about me, JJ. Thank you for bringing that up on the show.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you enjoy the spider train so very much.
Yeah. All right. Well, question number 2 is not spider related, thankfully.
Thank you.
It is, do you think magicians should be stopped?
Okay, I'm sorry to follow a question with a question. It's purely for clarification.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, absolutely.
Are we talking about the Chris Angel people on the streets? No,
just all of them. Just all of them.
Just all
just
of
magicians.
them. So this is including Dungeons and Dragons and Final Fantasy 14 and.
Yeah, we'll separate it from the fantasy magician to real life magicians. Let's yeah.
So that's the block. The answer is absolutely, because no one man should have all that power to create birds for no reason.
I thought you were going to quote Kanye West for a second there. I was a little afraid.
Let's not.
No, wait, what? First off, no. Why would you ever quote? Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah.
Those are the lyrics to that.
That's the lyrics of that song.
I'm like 0 for 2 on music tonight, guys.
That's exactly where my mind went to, and I was like, ooh, Ixnay, no, let's pull out of this bit.
It's okay.
Ixnay on the yay.
Yeah, Ixnay on that. But that's okay.
But JJ, what's your personal opinion on that?
Yeah.
I'm going to say let them do it, because if the dumbasses are going to be full, it's cheap entertainment, and the dumbasses that actually believe it and can't figure it out themselves, they deserve what happens to them.
All right. Well, pro magician. Okay. You've chosen violence, and that's fair. That's your choice. All right. Question number 3. This is a good one. I asked somebody this today, and it was fun. How good are your legs? How good are they?
My legs are excellent, sir.
All right.
My legs are S tier.
Okay, S tier.
Yes.
I was gonna ask for a 1 out of 10 rating, but I like the tier system better. JJ, what tier are your legs?
I'd say I'm B to A.
B to A. Okay. All right. That's
high B, low A.
Those are good. That's a good tier of legs. I like it. All right. Number 4. What member of Blackpink are you based on your food opinions? If you don't know the members of Blackpink, I'm here to help. We have Jennie, we have Jisoo, we have Lisa, or Rosé. whichever your food opinions would culminate into one of those members of there.
Well, just based on the names, I want to say
no knowledge of it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay.
Just based on the names, I'm going to have to say my food preferences would make me a rosé because I enjoy... I'm not a price snob when it comes to wine. I'm just a taste snob. I'm one of those people that's like the best wine in the world is whichever one you enjoy the most.
Right.
And there's people that like a $5 bottle of wine from the grocery store and it's their absolute favorite. And who are you to tell them they're wrong? If
it comes out of a box, even better.
Yeah, because then you get like 4 for the price of 2.
That's true.
It's perfect. So I'm going to go with rosé based on like I just like having wine or sake food pairings based on the region of food that I'm eating, and that seems the closest to me.
Right.
Just for the name alone, I'm going to go with Jisoo.
Okay, all right.
Just because that seems like kind of sophisticated, and I'm not
okay.
I'm certainly not bougie when it comes to food, but I do.
You enjoy good food.
You enjoy
good food. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
No, that makes sense.
That's good. I'm more of a Jenny man myself, but but this is good.
Yeah. Blackpink is in your area though.
They
so
are
you better,
in your area,
you should know that,
and you should be aware of it.
Yeah.
And our final question this evening, and we surveyed 100 people. Name something in a bakery a baker might call his wife. The top 8 answers are on the board. So if
that's a naughty little crumpet.
No, I mean, loaf.
I'm sorry that was not one of the top answers. So we have one strike.
Cruller.
I'm sorry that is not one of the top answers, so that's 2 strikes.
Okay. I think we need to try. I think we need to try and actually give a real one because I was like, that one's mean, but I could totally see one of the bakers, like at one of the coffee shops I know, calling his wife that.
Yeah.
And I was, okay, well, we got to get on that board, JJ. We got 2 strikes.
Yeah.
I mean,
bear claw.
Oh, that's
okay.
Kinda
you know
sexy.
what? You know what? I'll give this one to you. We'll be a little lenient. Donut is on the board, so that is there. You go.
See, that I thought donut was a little too easy.
Yeah,
because it's got a hole.
I think you're thinking a little too hard for these. I'm not going to lie to you. They're
fair.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But donut is the second from the bottom, so you and 5 other people.
That can't be like the top answer.
Yeah, it can't be the top answer.
Oh, God.
RetroFits showing a very astounding lack of knowledge of baked goods.
Oh man, this
podcast. I am stunned.
It's because the baked goods that I like are not the kinds of things that you would call a woman and expect to survive.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, no, it's tough. It makes it tough.
Like, I can't just come home one day and call my wife cheesecake. I would get slapped like anime style, like, where everything slows down and time stops for a second.
Well,
yeah. And you want to give them a cream pie. You don't want to call them a cream pie.
Exactly.
Okay,
that starts to get rude.
Okay. All right. Okay. Look, you know what? We're going to end this here. I'm just going to go over the top 8 answers here. We have honey. We have honey. That's honey buns. That's the number 1 answer. This is slash for some reason.
All right.
Yeah. I listen. I didn't do the serve. This is what people said. His oven. I don't know what that's all about. Apparently, that's number 2 answer.
That's about like the wonderful, wonderful subreddit about impreg, but we'll go from there.
That's probably we have sweet.
He's gonna put his bun in her oven.
Yep.
Yeah, we have sweetie. There you go. That means stupid. Cupcake, muffin.
Yeah, how is cupcake not number 1? Holy shit!
It should be.
What are we doing here?
Muffin. Muffin's another one. Sugar.
And muffin should be number 2.
And we mentioned donut. Doughy is the last one because that's the jokers out there. Like, my wife's big lady, I guess. I don't know. Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway,
See, I was
that's it.
overthinking this way too much. I was thinking of like individually named pastries.
Yeah.
Not just
It's tough.
my mind instantly like started doing the deep dive with like the beautiful mind calculations. Like,
yeah, same.
wait a second.
Like, I'm just trying to remember the names of different pastries and be like, when was the last time I actually went to a bakery?
Yeah.
Also, cinnamon buns was not on that list, and that is a crime.
Yeah.
I agree.
No, I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
Well, before we move on, I'm very sorry, James and JJ. I'm very sorry, but no, I'm sorry. Julian, you triggered this Have Something Nasty alarm, and that means
I'm
all
honestly surprised it took that long in this
Yeah,
episode.
no. The rest of it was okay. That was in a funny context. That was just, oh God. Okay. Now we have to learn about the second episode of Shasta McNasty, and this is on you, Julian. I just want you to know that.
Oh,
I'm sorry
boy.
that you have to be present for this, guys. I really am.
Oh boy,
But
here we go.
yeah, we all have to learn about this. This is episode 2. It's titled Little Dude.
Oh, I don't like this already.
Yeah. During dinner with Scott's girlfriend Karen, the boys get caught up in a brawl with Vern. That's Vern Troyer, a little person.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yep,
Okay.
employed by the restaurant. Yeah, Julian, this is what you did. When the boys discover that he's been fired, Scott tries to find him another job while Dennis, Randy, and Vern spend the days goofing off. Elsewhere, Randy is offered the important job of arranging a fundraiser with special guest speaker Gary Coleman, which ultimately results in heartbreak for one of the boys. Are you happy now, Julian? Are you happy?
I'm really not.
Yeah.
Also, rest in peace, Vern Troyer.
Yeah.
I could do a show that's worse than that. You ever heard of Moral Oral?
Yeah.
Yes.
I sadly
Yeah.
have watched.
Somehow, the second I heard I could do worse than that, I knew what was coming, and I felt like I had that moment where I was like, I could stop this right now. I could save everyone.
Well, it's
But
okay.
should
I have seen that, and it is. I don't know if it's worse than Shasta McNasty. Yeah, I'm just gonna be honest, but
Yeah.
all right. Well,
there's specific episodes that are pretty bad.
they're pretty terrible.
That's
They're
true.
pretty
As a
terrible.
whole, it's probably not as bad as Shasta McNasty, but there are some contender episodes that could go like pound
I'm
for pound.
sure. I'm sure. Well, that's the end of the Shasta McNasty alarm. We can all breathe a little bit easier. So here we go. I love that I can hit buttons. It's so much fun. I couldn't do
Yeah,
that.
I really
on
need
the
to upgrade. I need to upgrade the apparatus
It's so
over here
great.
so that I can fight fire with fire. This is bullshit.
No, I'd never do it, Julian.
I'll
Don't
get
do
you
it.
one of those ventrilo harassment soundboards. Get your mother, please.
All right. Well, let's move on to like some game and stuff like that. So from talking before the show, I think, James, you and Justin kind of have like a thing in common that you can talk about. So let's start with JJ. Like, what have you been up to, gaming or otherwise, lately that you want to hit up?
For me, it's just been, I spent like all of February, most of March, or actually no, it came out into February. I spent pretty much most of March doing nothing but Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Okay.
As in, I've got already over 100 hours on the game.
So you're about a quarter of the way through. That's cool. Like,
Yeah.
Much more than that, but
Yeah.
yes. Of course, I've been pausing and holding off on completing the main storyline because, I got side quests to do. I
Right.
can't be saving the world immediately.
Yeah. No.
What madness is that?
Yeah.
I got
Are you
your
a
distress
completionist?
call. I got your distress
Kind
call.
of.
It came as soon as I wanted to.
I'll give it the good college try, but I'm certainly not going to spend hours and hours trying to get the top score on one minigame.
gotcha. Yeah, I was listening to Nextlander this week's episode, and Vinny was talking about Rebirth and complaining because he had just gotten to where I am at, which is kind kind of just past the gold saucer. Okay. And he had said he was like over 70 hours, and he's like, it needs to end. And I'm like, that's on you. Like I'm at that same spot, and I'm at like 30 hours. So
I mean, if you ignore most of it and just do nothing but the main storyline, it's about a 30 to 40 hour game.
Yeah.
But I mean, anybody who does that, are they really playing an RPG?
I can't do it. Yeah, I can't do it either. Julian was like, just move on, Justin. I'm like, but I can't. Titan won't be strong enough, Julian, unless I go do these terrible mini games.
There's a shiny right there.
Yeah.
It only takes an hour. I just need to get the shiny, and then I'll go, and then I'll go. And on my way there, I'll find 5 other shiny locations, and I'll just do those for an hour each, and it's fine. This definitely won't multiply like Tribbles on the Enterprise, crushing us all to death.
Yeah.
Now, I'll fully admit the piano minigame, I will never be able to get the top level in that, because that game is a nightmare.
It's tough.
I've been doing really well on the piano minigame, but it doesn't feel as good as like a rhythm game should. I will say that. There are times when I will miss notes where I'm like, I nailed that note, you son of a bitch. Like, what's going on?
It's just having to focus on both joysticks at the same time for different notes.
It's a little tough.
That's where it throws me off.
I will say, as somebody who has not played Rebirth yet, because I'm the bougie one apparently, but I don't own a PS5, JJ.
You were the bougie one.
That's right.
Oh, JJ, you're not living that down.
Yeah, I'm not the one who owns a PS5 among the two of us. And it'll come out on Steam, I think, later. Oh, it is May right now.
Yes.
So it'll come out later this month, and I'll get to check it out then. But part of me that is a terrible person really loves that game design has evolved to the point where this JRPG that is ostensibly about the story, like without the original and without all the hype and build up since 1997, these games could not exist, essentially. But they do, and the developers have taken every single opportunity to just inject another thing and another thing and another thing and another thing. And I'm not talking about like stuff that deviates from the original story. I'm talking about stuff like Queen's Blood and Chocobo Racing and all this stuff that you can waste hundreds of hours on. Like JJ was describing the Chocobo Racing minigame to me, and I'm like, that could have been its own game like 2 years ago. And people would have eaten it up. Like I would have eaten it up. That sounds awesome.
There actually is a standalone Chocobo Racing game, if I remember right. It's terrible, but there is one that exists.
There is,
yes, there's 2 of them actually, and one of them is
kart racers, though.
Yeah, well, the problem is the second one was actually very well designed and played very well, but it's a microtransaction disaster.
Yes.
And the first one is just it's so clunky in the way it controls. Like I found a copy of that game and I popped it in like a couple of years ago, really wanting it to be good because I missed it the first time around. And I was like, I love Chocobos. Like, I think it's one of the cutest Final Fantasy mascots ever. And I want to play this game. And about like 5-10 minutes in, I was like, I don't want to play with you anymore.
Right.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done with you. This was $5 well spent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So JJ, I'm assuming with 100 hours in, you're enjoying it fairly well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything that they added, the storyline, and changing what they did, it's all just beautiful. Love it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. And with games like that, I set out with the intention of being a completionist, and then it kind of depends on how much I'm enjoying said extra like side activities, right? Like I think some of the side quests, like as far as like the story stuff that they do, is really excellent in Rebirth. Like way better than Remake. I did not like the side quests in Remake. I thought they were just like total boilerplate filler stuff. But I'll tell you the moment where I was like, okay, we're pretty much mainlining this at this point for me, was there's a side quest like not long after you do Gongaga, where there's like this goblin that you talk to, and he's like, oh, hey, like, fight my cactuar friends, and, like, I'll give you this thing, and you have to use, Yuffie. And it's like, oh yeah, so these are susceptible to physical attacks, and these are susceptible to magic attacks like her ninjutsu. And I'm like, okay, cool. And so I am doing that, right? Like, I'm taking out these guys as fast as I see them, but apparently not fast enough for Rebirth, because they were like, oh, nope, sorry. No, you're not good enough. You don't get this thing. And I was like, you know what? Fuck you, Rebirth. I'm done. Like,
that is one of the harder mini games, I will freely admit.
Yeah. I'm sure there's like probably some materia trick to it that, and I've never, like, even in original Final Fantasy VII, I never clicked with the materia system. Oh. So there's probably some busted ass combo that I can put on Yuffie that'll make it, like, way easier.
The trick is to just put it on easy and just play it that way, because then it's just a lot more.
The trick that you're missing out on, and Julian, is story difficulty is a wonderful experience.
It is. It's pretty nice.
It's so comfortable, and I can just sit
The trophies are not dependent upon difficulty level.
Okay, that I like.
Yeah,
I like that because there's too many of us in the gaming community, and I'm including myself in this group, sadly. We just, like, we get wrapped up in things that need to get done, and gaming starts to slip lower down that list as time goes on because of things like finances or career or like another hobby that, like, for some reason you have to jump onto because, like, either parts of it are going away, things like that. Like, basically there's not as much time as when we were kids because we have responsibilities and, like, real adult things to worry about now. So like, I mean, I'll openly admit this. Like, when I played Horizon Forbidden West, because that game is massive too.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Like, it's a huge game. I played the whole game on story difficulty, and I'm not ashamed to say that because
there's no shame in that.
Because I mean, the story of the game is incredible, and it's it didn't make it so easy that there wasn't a challenge for some of, like, the machines that were in that game that were specifically designed to be like stage battles, where it was like, okay, I've managed to do this, now I have to get over here and do this, or I have to start over, and or it'll, like, blast me with, like, 8 lasers, and then I'll just have to start the whole fight over. You know, like, it still had that level of, like, you gotta at least try for all of this, but as long as you're trying, it will give you some leeway to, like, make a couple of mistakes and still, like, play through the game and get the story down.
Rebirth's story or easier difficulty is a lot like that. Like, it doesn't hand you anything, but, like, you gotta try, but, like, it's not as demanding as, like, normal or whatever. Some people are like,
the dynamic mode is the normal one where the monsters will scale with you.
Okay.
And yeah, that absolutely can be a little difficult, especially if you want to go farm some items from earlier areas.
Yeah, they implement the Resident Evil 4 system of, oh, you're doing well? Oh, that's a funny way to spell badly.
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah. And like, I'm not against, like, turning a difficulty down. I think it depends, like, there is this, like, little bit of, like, toxic gamer, like, mentality of, like, a point of personal pride where it's like, no, I can do it on normal or whatever. But I think for me, it boils down to, am I going to be bored if I turn it down? Because that's definitely been a problem sometimes where it's like, okay, I turned it down because I was having trouble, but now, like, I'm just not having fun anymore because, like, I'm just, like, sleepwalking through the rest of the game.
Oh, that's fun to me. I love sleepwalking through stuff. It's great. I'm highly entertained by that. I'm just here for the ride. Like, it's cool. Yeah, sometimes I feel great when I'm just like, yeah, I just want to just destroy these people and feel like a badass, and then I do that. I'm like, this is good. I'm glad I did this.
That's
then you have the games that will mock you for playing on easy difficulty.
I hate that shit.
I
Yeah.
just don't play
That,
that.
that shit is actually infuriating,
Yeah.
and not on a level that I can sit here and say something to try and make it funny. Even like that just actually fills me with white hot rage.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, asshole, you do it. Oh, that's right, you can't because you have an 80-hour a day or a week job as a game developer at a AAA studio, but if you want to get it out on time and not have it be broken, it should actually be a 100-hour work week. So which of us is truly suffering here when I play on easy mode? Oh, it's still me because you're an asshole? Great.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, it's especially galling when and it's mainly Japanese made games, especially from like, you know, the 360 era, but it's like when it's like, do you want to put it on easy like after a few deaths, and it's like, fuck you, game.
Oh, that I like that, because sometimes I'm like, you're right, I do want to put it on easy actually, and then I do, and I'm like, they were right, I did. This is nice.
Yeah. Wow, actually, you were right about that.
Yeah, you were right. I hate this. So yeah, let's make it easier. I don't like to die.
Some games, I think, you know, they're just not balanced quite right. You know, like in the Horizon games, like I feel that I'm fine with them on normal, but my issue with those games is that no matter how far into the game you are and how much you level up, like the enemies are still taking off like 30 to 50% of your health, like with a hit. And it just never feels balanced quite right. Like you don't feel like you're actually getting any more powerful as you go.
Well, I actually like that aspect because it made it much more realistic, because even if you're fully leveled up, if a watcher gets the jump on you and like whacks you with its tail, it's going to take off a good chunk of HP. And
that's a good point.
That makes sense because it's a machine versus a human. If it's hitting you with a metal tail, it's gonna hurt. So that aspect of it I actually liked.
Yeah, the immersion aspect of playing on normal is an interesting design choice in that it does sort of open your eyes to the fact, if you get like JJ and me and you start, you know, analyzing it on a corkboard like a crazy person.
With colored string, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Well, red is the classic. I'm getting a little more attached to green though. But that like it does sort of like wake you up to the idea of like, oh right, I am a human in what is basically a pre-industrial society fighting automated weapons like made of steel that have like laser capability that the game will not let me have. Was really upset about that in Forbidden West because I was like, oh, the spoiler alert, I guess. People from the stars appeared and they have laser guns. Oh, that must mean that like at some point I like shoot one with an arrow and take their weird arm laser, right? And I could be Mega Man for part of the game. Oh no. Oh, that's not. You know what? You're right. Forbidden West. That idea was dumb.
No. What if you just shot arrows the whole game? That sounds good.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. Forbidden West. I'm still playing.
Yeah.
Don't worry about me.
That'll be the third game. That'll they're gonna have their like, you know, powered up gravity gun moment like in that very final like battle like in at the end of the third game. I'm calling it now.
Yeah, but Lance Reddick isn't going to be there to hand it to me. So it's going to take away from the awesomeness of that moment. Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
Not
Lance
getting
Reddick.
able to use the super weapon, that's still my absolute disappointment from Final Fantasy IX. I love that game for every aspect except for the fact that once we get the invincible airship, I can't use the city-destroying laser.
Right.
I wanted to use the city-destroying laser.
I wanted an airship with a frickin' laser beam attached to its belly.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Excellent.
And so, I mean, but it's good to hear like stuff like this because I have been actively avoiding information on Rebirth because I wanted to be able to go into it like fresh faced and just sort of have reality slap me in the face because I need it once in a while. But I will ask one question just because I'm curious. Does the car come back?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Okay, now I'm stoked.
They've been pretty faithful to the game in this section of the story, which I wasn't expecting after the first remake part. And it has me very excited for the third game because so technical limitations have kept this from being a reality for many years. But one of the things that I've hated about Final Fantasy since the PlayStation 2 and forward is that the airship is no longer really a thing because they didn't really, we don't have an overworld anymore, right? So that there's not, you can't like zoom up and just explore the world.
9
but
was
now
the last
with like,
one, yeah,
with the SSD technology, right, and the fact that like they've already built the overworld, I am expecting the ability to get on the high wind, go up and just stream that entire world and fly over it in full 3D the way I've been
it's
wanting.
Going to happen. You could already do that with the little Bronco, whenever when you go on the water. But yeah, because if they haven't at that level,
I need that experience from when I was 8, where like Tifa jumps onto the high wind and you escape. There's a little story moment. She walks into the cockpit and then you realize, oh no, I'm in control.
Yes. Absolutely.
I get to do this.
Right. Yeah.
Because ever since Final Fantasy X, which for all intents and purposes, really amazing game. I
one of my favorites.
Very much like 10. So don't get mad at me, people in the comments that have already got their fingers on the keyboard what's this asshole about to say?
No, you're fine. Trust me, I've said this a lot. Don't worry about it. I know where this is going. Go ahead.
But it's the airships, if they even appear at all in a Final Fantasy game, are just a fast travel mechanic.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no control. There's no feeling like, oh, this incredible thing in the game is like something that I can play around with. Like, in a game where I'm playing, I can play with a thing. Wonderful. I love that. But now it's just, hey, select on this menu where you want us to drop you off. And now it's like I'm riding the bus.
Yeah. You can kind of get that with Final Fantasy 15 once you get the flying car mod.
Yeah, I never got that though.
Yeah. So the thing is, JJ, I'm not going to mod my PS4 to let me play with the flying car.
No,
and break every other game.
No, the car gets a modification in the game.
Oh, see, I haven't gotten that far because I've been fishing too much.
No, it's actually in the game, but it is actually a post game, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it is actually really fun to do, and you can die super, super easy because they do not give you safety controls.
Oh, good.
The transformation animation is very cool, though. I have the regalia in Final Fantasy XIV as a mount, and every time that you go into aerial mode, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, awesome. Before we move on, though, it's time for Big Dumb Quiz.
Oh, God.
Oh, no, I don't like
Hello,
this.
folks.
No.
I'm Spence Sterling, and we're here.
No, he's here for me,
Big Dumb
guys.
Quiz.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. I'm sure he's here for me.
Please stop interrupting. Spence Sterling.
No, I'll do what I want.
Fuck you, it's Big Dumb Quiz. Today, we have 3 contestants.
Oh,
we have James, a Bitcoin miner from Lukenbach, Texas.
That's
we have
not
JJ,
that far from the truth.
A slam poetry editor from Saskatchewan.
That's cool.
And finally, Justin, a titty inspector from Fort Lauderdale.
Don't make me hit the Shasta McNasty alarm on you. I swear to God I will.
That's for Julian, not Spence Sterling.
I don't.
First question for James. This Nintendo mascot wears a red cap and has starred in multiple games over the past nearly 40 years. Who is it?
Okay, I see what we're doing. Go ahead.
Yeah, that would be Jumpman.
Judges? We're going to allow it. Good job.
Yeah, because that was that. If you're going to say 40 years, that includes Donkey Kong, and that was Jumpman, not Mario. But that's the as far as the actual name of the character.
Yeah, Spent. How about that?
Judges will allow it. Moving on. Question 2 for JJ. This Sony console was released after the PlayStation 2 and before the PlayStation 4. What console is it?
We're just going to go with the easy answer and PlayStation 3.
Judges. That's correct. Good job.
Okay,
I was ready
here's-
for you to
yeah,
say
yeah,
PSP
okay.
and
Here we
throw the
go.
whole game off.
Final
we go.
question.
Yeah,
For Justin.
Here we go.
Why do you
Here we-
hate everything Julian comes up with for the state select?
I don't. That's not true at all.
Oh,
Judges.
man. Justin, I think you just lost a point.
I don't care. I don't care. There's no point. to
Sorry,
this.
that's incorrect.
I'm not going to win anything. He's just going to leave.
That's it for today's Big Dumb
See?
Quiz.
He's leaving
I've been
right
Spence
now.
Sterling. Good night.
I like it. I like it.
Oh, man. See, actually, now that Big Dumb Quiz is over and I realize my question was, like, who is Mario, basically, but from 40 years ago, I'm reminded of those memes. It's like, what you think Sonic looked like 20 years ago. What it actually looked like 20 years ago. And
Yeah.
I am the living embodiment of that GIF from Saving Private Ryan, where Matt Damon just turns into an old man over the span of 5 seconds.
See, I don't have that at all. And I think it's probably safe to say I'm the oldest person in the room right now. But I realized not too long ago why I don't have this feeling. And it's because I mark time by console and video game releases coming from my retail days. And then also past that, I started like listening to podcasts and everything like that. So I'm always so on top of like stuff coming out that I'll have like a line in the sand, right? So I'm like, did that game come out before the 360? Oh yeah, it did. Okay, no, yeah, that's right. Like that all lines up. And so I'm just like, it doesn't affect me.
See, the thing is, I have the idea of time in my head as that as well, but I also have this self-delusion that I am much younger and more attractive than I actually am. And I would be very appreciative if you said nothing to break that in this moment, because I know JJ wants to. It's filled within him at that moment.
No,
Hey.
James, to full disclosure, when you came on the call, I was like, what a young and attractive looking man.
Yeah.
And that's not even a bit. Like I was like, oh, you're like a really fit child. Like,
I am 35 years old.
Oh, I would not have guessed that at all. I was like, this dude's still in his 20s. What the fuck is going on here?
People always think I'm younger than I am as well, and I'll take that as a full compliment.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It is nice to hear sometimes, because I do not take care of myself, and I seriously don't know what's going on.
That's the way to do it. No, that's the way to do it, is to not care, and then it works out. Yeah.
And then the stress doesn't age you.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I do it.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to like, steal your thunder, James, but when you were talking about like gaming kind of like being pushed to the side because of responsibilities and stuff like that, when you're a single, like, piece of shit that doesn't have any friends, all you end up doing is you just say like, I'll do that next week.
Yeah.
And then spend the day playing video games. And then when next week comes, it's like, I'll do that next week. And then all of a sudden you're sitting in a pile of your own filth, but you finished Elden Ring for the third time. So
Yeah.
hey, like,
I've got some bad news for you, Julian. Even when you have like too many friends and the love of your life forever, you're still going to say that a lot.
yeah.
Like a lot.
Procrastination is like masturbation. You're only fucking yourself.
See, why didn't he get the Shasta McNasty button, Justin?
I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, likely story.
We've already had it. We've already had it once this episode, Julian. That was enough. We've all learned our lesson.
Does that mean I have Shasta McNasty button immunity for the rest of the show?
No. Let's not push. Let's not push the envelope. Okay. Let's not push the envelope. Okay.
All right. Well. I think we've reached the point in the show, unless Justin has something else planned, where it is time to talk about Eiyuden Chronicles for like probably way too long.
I mean, yeah, we can do that.
Yes.
That's fine.
Yes. Yeah. That's probably one of the only reasons I haven't gone completely bonkers across the past week has been thanks to that game's existence and my love for it. Because we opened the show talking about Suikoden and Suikoden 2. Yeah. I made this statement, and I still hold that it is true. Booting up and playing Eiyuden Chronicle has been like playing Suikoden 2 for the first time, like all over again. And it has been some time, I'm not even sure how long anymore, since I had that sort of just complete, unfiltered, undiluted joy just rush into me the second I started up a game, where I was just like, oh, I'm here. I'm back. Yeah. I'm playing Suikoden 6. It's real now. I have it. It was
the closest we're going to get.
Yeah,
I
pretty
mean,
much.
Well, that I think depends on the sales of the 1 and 2 HD remaster.
This is true.
Like, series have been revived over less.
Konami, so, Konami got a lot of shit, rightly so, like in the last generation, for basically pretty much abandoning the video game industry and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, pachinko machines make money.
They do.
And, historically, like, we kind of found out that, like, they also treated, like, a lot of their teams pretty shittily, like, so there's a lot that you could take them to task for. I do think that they should also, it's also worth, like, pointing out when they're doing good things, right? And in the last few years, they've been doing really well with, like, these really excellent, like, HD collections of some of their classic games and stuff like that, or letting companies, license out the IP to make games, right? Like, I haven't picked it up yet, but, like, the new Contra game is definitely on my list of games to check out this year. Even though the team is not who I want working on Silent Hill, I'm glad that there are at least people working on new Silent Hill things, right?
I don't know about that, but I'm sort of in the camp of like, just you know what? Maybe we just never make another one of those. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
But and they do have that Suikoden collection coming out. So I don't think it's impossible for another Suikoden to come out, but I think it's pretty slim because Konami still seems to be like very much like just like dipping their toe back into the industry.
I will be very happy if we just get like a kind of re-release of like 3, 4, and 5 somehow. Like that would like make my life. I'd be like,
especially
awesome.
5.
Yeah, especially 5.
I did see that there was. I don't know if it's going to ever be made official. I did see that somebody was doing their own fan remaster of 3.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I heard that same thing. I'm
That's kind of
sure
how you got to get these companies to do it, right? Like you start it on your own, and then they do the takedown, and then do it themselves, right?
I don't know, the Chrono Trigger 3D remake. That's never happening, and they took those people out. And the thing is, nor should it, but they took those people out hard, and then they were just like, "No, this is never." Ever happening, but a Chrono Trigger remake is kind of blasphemous in itself. So
you just need to make it available on current consoles. That's all you need to do.
Now, the same thing happened whenever somebody did a remaster of Metroid 2. Is that they shut it down hard?
Yeah, and they had
Metroid. Then they released the newest Metroid game anyway. So
yep.
It's about right.
Well, but they also did a remake of Metroid 2. It was just, in my opinion, a shitty one. I don't like Mercury Steam's games. I'm sorry. I haven't liked anything that I've played of theirs. So, anyway, Eiyuden Chronicles.
Yeah, right. Getting back to like the thing wow. See, this is the problem when 4 people with diagnosed ADHD get together. The train stays on the rails, but it's in a rail yard. Yeah. So they go everywhere.
Yep, that's right.
But yeah,
bold of you to assume that mine is diagnosed.
Yeah.
One last rail jump. Whenever I worked at a casino in IT, they had Konami slot machines, and nice. I did absolutely try to put in the Konami code on every single one that I walked by in some fashion or another, but unfortunately it never worked.
Oh,
see, that's just not understanding the legacy of your company.
Yeah, they lost the magic somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the nostalgia factor is big in Eiyuden Chronicle, but I was actually surprised at how, for as much of it there is, the game doesn't feel like it's reliant on it. Because a lot of games that are like, oh, we're recapturing like the majesty of your childhood with this retro like style thing and this IP that you love, it kind of falls back on the idea that like you love this on a level that you can't, like, that cannot be recreated, but people aren't going to stop trying because they'll still get your money. Yeah, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Whereas I want to say over I think it was like the 5 or 10 minute mark where I was like, I'm getting the exact same feeling that I had as like a 10-year-old, but this is a whole new experience, like a whole new game. And it's playing with its own unique mechanics in like weird ways, but it still has like the foundation of what it was like as its base, you know, like as somebody familiar with Suikoden, especially 1 and 2, could jump into the game a little bit easier, like without playing, like listening to the tutorials as much as somebody who didn't. But you're not going to be completely lost if it's your first Yoshitaka Murayama experience. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And sadly, one of the last ones that will ever be.
Yeah, unfortunately. No, it's the Suikoden system in general is like, I don't want to call it like pick up and play, but it's very easy to understand for the most part.
For a casual playthrough, I can definitely agree.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get complex with it, you know, down the road and all that stuff. How far are you into it? Are you did you finish it or
I did not finish it.
Okay.
Because I got incredibly sidetracked by the Beyblade minigame.
The Beyblade.
I got incredibly sidetracked, and I got weirdly good at it.
Okay.
Because I learned to time out like exactly how to watch the bars so that I could make the battle happen where you have some form of actual control of how it's going to go.
That tends to be the one way to win those at certain points.
At some point it's like, no, you have to trigger the dual battle and then mash the buttons so that you do intense damage to the clearly superior Beyblade and then just knock it off the field.
Yeah. I love their ideas for some of the characters and that stuff with that sort of thing where they just were like, what if we just did this whole other weird universe over here for this minigame? And it's just like,
what if the first magic user you meet in the game thinks that she's Sailor Moon? Like, just what if? Yeah. What if what if the other like weirdly powerful magician that you can find randomly in a town, I don't know exactly when they're available because wrapping my head around like the stages when new things unlock is a little weird. It does seem to be like new characters trigger in waves, but at points that don't feel like I've completely finished a section yet.
Right.
So it's like giving you this opportunity, like, what if you just deviated from the middle of your story thing and fucked around for a few hours? Which is how I think anyways, but it was still something I noticed like right away.
I kept making the joke to myself while I was playing it. I'm right at the end. I'm right where I'm supposed to go to the final battle, and that's
fucking
it.
Time Lord, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, I put about 80 hours into it. I've gotten all the characters. Yeah, I've gotten all the characters right now. I'm almost there.
Nice.
But I kept making the joke over the course of it, because there's a certain like side quest minigame thing that it takes a while because a lot of stuff is like real time based. And it's the cooking one. And I just kept going, guys, I know the Empire's right there and they're right about to attack us. But first I gotta go cook an omelet. And I gotta do that. I gotta go cook an omelet.
Iron Chefaroo!
Oh, yeah.
We did an entire show in production in Suikoden 2 for our playthrough of Iron Chefaroo.
We because it was the first time either one of us had actually decided to go through the whole cooking minigame story for real. Like,
Yes.
so
Never
we were like,
complained
well,
then.
if we're going to do it on the show, we got to play it up. And it's
Hell
like,
yeah.
it became a bunch of Iron Chef episodes. It was
Yeah.
really fun. And I was so happy that a similar mechanic came back
Yes.
in Eiyuden, because it really is just fun. I do miss the like weird food alchemy of like, hey, mixing plain pasta with red pepper is how you make lasagna. Mixing ice
Right.
cream with red pepper is how you make Nanami ice, a traditionally very sweet ice cream that does not have any spicy flavor to it.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
it's, you know, the food alchemy of Suikoden 2 was joyous in its absurdity, which is like where I try to live any time that I'm
Right.
like in a comedic mood. And this one doesn't have the spice mixing. It just has like, well, here's the recipe, and you kind of have to gauge on like how it would actually be cooked and taste, like
Right.
who's going to enjoy it, which is
Yeah.
a little more realistic.
Yeah,
but-
you don't even need, for the mini game itself, you don't even need the actual ingredients. You need them to like get them as items, but like you can just make whatever. Like it doesn't
Oh,
even
yeah.
matter. It's kind of wild, but it makes it fun just trying to guess whose favorite food is what. And that's entertaining. But then I learned that omelets are just overpowered. Just cook an omelet every time. It's great.
Oh
Everybody
wow!
loves it.
I was wondering if they had patched that or not, because what the patch that they released was like, well, we had to update kind of how food works in this game.
They might maybe should have. At least when I was playing it, omelet was just like, just cook an omelet, just do it. It's don't think about it.
Well, it's because every single dish in the game was coded as an appetizer by accident. So they had to
Makes
patch it
sense.
so that some things actually registered as a main dish or a dessert.
Or dessert. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Yeah, because people were like, why does nobody in the world like ice cream for dessert?
Yeah.
Nobody in this entire game likes ice cream.
I noticed that too. I was like,
weird.
even people that sound like they should like it just hate it every time you. Oh,
yeah,
man.
there's characters where they're like, they have a real sweet tooth, and it's like, here's ice cream for dessert.
Yeah.
And they're like, maybe you should try harder. I'm like,
Yeah,
harder than what?
I did try. It's crazy.
It is.
I
Although
universally love dessert. I don't know what's wrong with you people.
The
Yeah, it's-
absolute best judge on any cooking game was, I can't even think of the name of it, that we played recently. I think it was Yarnum, the god of...
Oh, it was
of
Star
light and
Ocean. Is Star Ocean the second story?
Yes.
That cooking game in the original PlayStation version,
Nice.
which was all like the game itself was already unhinged, which is why
Yeah.
I'm so glad it got a full-on remake that made it even more so. That's just lovely to me. But yeah, the judge, and I had to learn this through a guide. The eventual final boss of the cooking game is Yarma. That is, he is a purple penguin, and his line that we'll forever remember until we die is, I have the powers of both God and Satan, which makes me the ultimate gourmet. And I'm like, yes, that's
it
what
would.
the point of those powers is. That is
That's it.
absolutely, if I defeated both God and Satan and absorbed their powers, that is the first thing I would do
Yeah,
with it. This game gets me.
Judge cooking battles. That's it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that cooking game, especially in the original version, it is bonkers. There's like no way to win at all.
Oh,
I think we won out of like 5
because
tries
we couldn't
that
figure
did.
out how you were scored on anything, because it got to the end and the guy was like, okay, you did this and you did this, and the winner is this guy, and it was just over. And I was like, wait, what? But I used
I think
the
we won
special
once
ingredient.
out of like 5 times that we tried.
Yeah.
No, we didn't even win once. That
Oh, okay.
man.
Well, there we go.
If we did, it was between episodes, but like we didn't. There is no on-screen evidence that we are
No.
even capable of winning that game.
Well,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
But yeah, like cooking in Eiyuden Chronicle is fun, and
It is.
I'm glad that it brought back the tournament style, and I'm glad that the voice acting that they got, just in general. I mean, for the cooking segment, it's all really funny because it's incredibly over dramatic and over the top,
Yes.
and it's
Very
like
much.
somebody saw Food Wars and was like, "What if this was in Eiyuden Chronicle with less pornography?" And somebody else was like, "Greenlit."
Yeah.
Do it now.
Yep.
And so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree.
One character I found recently that sort of surprised me because it sort of came out of left field was Momo.
Momo's awesome. I love Momo.
Momo is so great. Because like, when Momo appears, it's very clear that whatever problem you're about to help them solve, they created it themselves.
Yeah.
And
pretty much.
They're sort of looking for someone to help them clean up the mess, but if nobody comes along, they're just going to kind of let it happen forever.
Yep.
and just move somewhere else in the world where they don't have to deal with it.
Where they don't have to worry about it. But then you show up and they're like, oh, yeah, you're going to help me with this. And
you look like a strong, strapping young man. You could help poor little me. You would help this soft, beautiful femboy with our quest to slay the evil, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you?
Oh man,
it's like
Momo's great. I love.
Yes,
Momo.
I would, Momo.
They and not only that, they are like insanely powerful. They're insanely powerful.
Are very overpowered.
Oh yeah. I believe somebody had a tier list somewhere, and it was just, going through this is, these are the good ones, these are the more than good ones, and then there's Momo, which just is listed as literal god. And I'm just
Momo
like, yeah,
at
that's
the
about
top
right.
of the pyramid, staring down at all of the lesser beings.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do they have a tier for Momo after they've eaten an omelet?
Not yet.
Not yet. But that's because we haven't been ready to play with that kind of destructive force yet.
Yeah.
We're not ready. We're not ready to just absolutely bake our computers in the heat of the sun yet.
Right. Yeah.
No, it's the voice acting was a good addition, I think, to the overall story.
I really like it. I think most of it is really good. I every now and then the name pronunciations and stuff get a little off, but that's more of a direction thing than the voice acting itself, because like you can tell they kind of like were probably separate. Like there was no like nobody sitting there like, this is how you pronounce this name. They were just kind of like going with it.
Yeah, a couple of, because it's always names of places or people.
It's always names of places or people where it happens. And that's always the thing. But that's. Go ahead.
I actually have a question for you guys.
Sure.
Since we all deal with a lot of audio now.
Okay.
Have you gotten to the point when you're playing a video game where you can tell when it was like a different recording session in a conversation? Because I can now, and it drives me mad.
Yes, but to be fair, I've been able to do that since Sonic Adventure 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
For an obvious reason.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, the voice acting is really good. I don't know if you have unlocked the theater yet.
Yes, I have not put on any plays yet. Okay, because again, I get sidetracked very easily.
Julian, you're going to love this. Okay, in your castle, you can unlock a theater, and you get scripts for plays, and you can set any of the characters to play the roles, any role.
Yeah. It's just like from Suikoden 3.
And it's
I love that in 3. It was so much fun.
Yeah, and it's all the characters.
Doing Romeo and Juliet with Hugo's mom as Juliet and Sergeant Joe the Duck as Romeo was an amazing combo. And everybody, like, when you put it on like that, the theater guys, like, everybody hated that. It was like a thing from Fallout 4. It was like everyone hated that.
Yeah.
And I was like, one person didn't.
Yeah, you can just totally sabotage the entire thing and just make it absolutely ridiculous, put everyone in the wrong roles. You do get like an item for making an S rank good one, but like it's the characters like basically playing themselves but also playing a character. So it's great. It's fucking great.
Nice. That's exciting.
One of the other mini games that I need to still get into and try out is the egg foot racing. You could basically JJ, they added chocobo racing to the game. And you hatch chocobos or you hatch egg foots,
whatever it is. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure.
Is big feets the correct plural of Bigfoot? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
So Eggfoot remains a mystery, but they're basically like cute, adorable, chubby creatures that will go on a race for you. And I still need to explore that many games.
Yeah, I'm 80 hours in and I haven't done one of those yet. So yeah.
I'm honestly astounded at that number. I was expecting this to come in at a much lower hour count.
Here's the thing. One thing I did discover is there are certain mechanics in the game, like getting the theater scripts, for example, that rely on real time passing. And also getting materials.
Like the rare items from Suikoden 2 and Suikoden 3, the rare items in the shops were based on a timer that reset every 30 minutes.
Yeah. So a lot of the times what I would do is I would be going and doing other stuff, but I would just let the game sit and idle, like while I was just sitting there. So that way I'd come back and be like, okay, well, now I'll get a bunch of my materials and I'll do all this stuff and all this. So
you're probably closer to 30, 40 actual playtime?
I would say it's probably, it's not nothing like that. It's probably maybe 70. I'm trying to think of what I took.
Because you don't leave it idling for long, hopefully.
No, it's nothing like that. It's nothing crazy. Okay. I'm trying to think of what I've taken the most time doing. I played a lot of cards because I'll just sit there and play card games.
Oh God, the card game is addicting. There's a card game too, JJ, and it's about battling cards. And every character in the game is a collectible card now, with different powers and abilities.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's not a bad card.
There's a Yu-Gi-Oh
for card games.
Yeah, they make Yu-Gi-Oh, and you get to play it. Yeah, and your main character is not the strongest card, but he is one of them.
Yeah, he is one of them. I think the thing that took me the most time so far was the Bigoma, the
Bigoma. Yeah, that's what it was called.
That took me basically like an entire day of playing to get through that whole storyline and get the character associated with it, because I'm bad at it and it's not my favorite thing to do.
It's the only mini game that's associated directly with recruiting two characters.
Yes, you have to. You
actually have to do it if you want to get like the super happy ending.
Well, the cooking one is too. The cooking one is also
right. Yeah, that's right. The diviner told me that I have to beat Iron Chef if I want to get one of the characters too.
Yes, basically yes. So yeah, I think that's it for the mini game portion. Yeah, I think that's it. I think those are the only two that are associated with it. There's a couple of them that are
the card game is too.
The card game is too,
but you kind of don't realize it because you have to win like 100 different card games before the character just shows up one day and is like, hey, guess what? If you beat me, you can recruit me. Also, I'm a giant, like, Dommy Mommy character.
Yeah.
And I am designed that way on purpose. Let's go.
I had read people having to do stuff like that, and I was like, I didn't have that. Like, it was like 10 or 20 fights, and then they were there. And I was like, oh, cool.
I had to beat almost every single person in my castle. Yeah. I had to play against almost every major character before she showed up.
Nobody has pinned down the mechanic to get her yet. Like, it seems...
It's gotta be randomized, then...
It's either randomized or there's some like hidden thing that you have to like trigger.
I think because some of the recruitment is still, they fixed the one recruitment bug that like apparently drove people up a wall.
Yeah, the
one
lamb?
where you could you could permanently miss her by talking to her too early.
Yes, too early. Yeah, I read about it before I went there. Like, and I was like, okay, make sure I don't do that. So yeah.
The other one that's like I don't want to say it's bugged, but it shouldn't be the way that it is the Reyna, the Dark Knight tank recruitment.
Oh yeah, she's tough. Yeah.
Well, but it's so you get the game will play the battle against her to recruit her for 3 turns, and it's like if you could do enough damage to her in those 3 turns is like the promise the game is making, then she'll join you.
Right.
But the thing is, you actually only get 2 full turns. Once the third turn comes around, no matter how much damage you do to her, she's like,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's not that impressive. But if you do that much damage before the end of the second turn, then she's like, whoa, awesome. Guess what? I'm going to join you and become the ultimate shield, and no one on your front row will ever get hurt again. High five.
She is pretty good. And she calls herself the Reina, which is my favorite
Yes.
aspect of her. It's great.
Especially when you make her an on-field general for a war battle. It's like,
Yes.
the Reina's
Yes.
coming for you. It's like a Slim Jim commercial.
Oh,
it's like
she's
Macho
great.
Man Randy Savage has entered the battle.
Yeah, it's great. Oh,
In
man.
short, JJ, the second you're done with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, you are going to lose about 120 hours of your life to this game. It's
Yeah, there's like an
it's
endless,
everything we wanted it to be and more.
almost like a roguelike thing where it just kind of like cycle through characters, like, and you can just keep doing battles over and over again. I accidentally like over leveled at one point because I stumbled into it and was like, oh, let me just try this out. Like, it seems I have to do this to recruit this character or whatever. And then I did it. I was like, I gained like 10 levels. I was like, oh boy. All right. Well, okay. I guess.
Somehow the rest of the game isn't quite as difficult
Nope,
as
sure
it was
wasn't.
leading up to
I was
this.
like, oops, I may have gone there a little too soon. Didn't know that was going to do that, but I'm not mad about it, so that's fine.
That's another thing that harkens back. It just sort of occurred to me as you were talking about it. That goes back to the original Suikoden games. The experience is it's 1,000 to gain a level, no matter what, and the amount you gain scales with your level against the enemy you're fighting.
Yep.
So it's the original system all over again. But it's
That's
a
nice.
lot more balanced than it was in like the first and second one.
Right.
Because it used to be in 1 and 2, if you brought a low level character into an area, you could fight maybe like 3 battles and they'd be like up with the rest of your team. Like they would just be already at that level.
Yeah.
In Eiyuden Chronicle, that is less true. If you let a character that you actually want to try out get under leveled, you have to put some work into getting them back up. Not as much if you can put them in the back row and keep them alive in the a higher level area, because they will still gain levels faster than everybody else. But it is kind of like, oh, if you wanted to use this person, why didn't you use them? And I'm like, because I did like 8 other things, man.
Well, that is semi-true.
You put
but like
50 things in the game for me to do. I did all of them, okay? I just wanted to play with this guy.
once you get that the endless mode thing, and it kind of it almost like skyrockets it a little bit. Like it blinks. Like it, like
the
a lot of
basement.
yes, the basement
battles.
Yes,
I discovered. I accidentally
you did
power
the same.
leveled.
Yeah, you did the same thing as me.
because I opened it and I did it immediately.
Yep,
so
me too.
I'm not even done with like the snow pass part.
Oh right,
yet.
yeah.
So the level I accidentally power leveled to with the story's like 3 main hero characters.
Yeah.
Is at the point where I am now afraid to do the 6 hero combo attack.
Yeah.
So the one thing I will say that like absolutely blew my mind was they brought back hero combos, which is awesome.
Yes.
And there is one 6-person hero combo where like your entire party does the attack. It's clearly meant for bosses because it only hits one enemy, but it is amazing.
Was that in those original games? The 6-person one?
I don't know about the 6-person one, but there was definitely
most
team
was
up
a
attacks.
5, and that was the squirrels.
Yeah, the squirrels were a 5, and I think other than that, it was only up to 3.
Okay.
They only had 2 and 3.
I've never managed to do it myself, and I want to actually try it sometime. The squirrels are an insta-kill. They have a percentage to insta-kill even bosses.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I want to try it against the hardest boss in the game. I can't even remember his name now. The evil general guy.
Luca Blight.
The evil king. Luca Blight, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because, well, the thing is, they actually published the percentages on that. And it's like, if you do the 5 squirrel attack, it will insta-kill random enemies that you encounter in the field at like an 89% rate. Like something that's really high. And for bosses, it's 3%.
Oh, wow.
It is 3%, and you can beat the final boss of the game by doing it on the middle target, the rune target.
Right.
Just end the battle instantly by lifting the rune off the screen and having it be dead.
Right.
Nice.
like the rest of the battle just ends. The wolf is still there, alive and angry and yelling at you, but the battle just ends and it explodes like it's supposed to in the cinematic.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I don't consider the final boss of Suikoden 2 to be that hard, honestly.
That's because it wasn't.
Yeah.
Suikoden 2
it would be fun to insta-kill it. Like, that's...
Right.
Yeah, like that's the challenge of it. It actually would be a hard fight if you had to sit there with the 5 squirrel characters and do it. Then it would be a really hard fight. But, like, Suikoden 2 had a design thing that I really love about it, and at the same time, I feel like it's probably something that a lot of people don't enjoy, and that is that, unlike other Suikoden games, that one was very generous with the methods that you had to heal.
Yes.
First off, there was a glitch where every single end was free, but, we don't talk about that.
Okay.
But, like, the rune of the main character in the first game is, like, the rune of life and death. Like, the first spell you have is insta-kill a random enemy, and it's all about, like, doing damage and taking life. In the second one, it's, like, all about protection and healing. And healing is, like, the main function of your main character, so it scales really high how much you can heal at any one time. And the third healing spell has a chance to cause, like, the berserk status that makes all the damage that character does multiply by 3.
Right.
For the entire party.
Oh, yeah, and it could do it to the entire party.
Yeah.
It's
pretty
like...
good.
It's pretty badass, like, the way that the game is broken with healing. Eiyuden Chronicles, like, it's not as generous with the healing as I'm used to, but it's still pretty easy to use.
Yeah. I was going to mention that. I think one thing that I like the old Suikoden games a little bit better for is they use kind of like almost a Dungeons and Dragons style, like, spell slot system for, like, all the runes and stuff. Where this one goes MP, and I don't think they balance it very well sometimes, because, like, I find myself not ever wanting to use spells because they cost so much,
but the other thing about it is that the way that they kind of tweaked it in a direction I did really enjoy is instead of 3 possible rune slots, you can have a character with, like, up to 6.
Now that I like, that I do like. Yes, absolutely.
So far, I haven't, like, there's 8 total, like, positions. I have not found a character yet with 8 slots, which makes me wonder if there is one. But, like, essentially, instead of having one in, like, a different body part, there's, like, a lens that you have in your hand, and that lens is what holds different runes that you can activate on command.
Right.
I'm still kind of wondering on Crowley, because, his line is he's got 100 runes in his body. So I'm just imagining he just, like, jibs studded throughout his entire body.
I mean, he's definitely got one in each ball. That's for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
He's. I apologize for nothing.
Would you call that being ball-dazzled?
There it is. There it is.
There you go.
There's my guy. There's my guy.
There you go. You got there.
But yeah, the idea of, like, rune combinations is something that they basically put in your head from the very beginning. Whereas in Suikoden, the original games, it was something you had to earn by getting kind of far in the game before you could really effectively do them. In this game, it's like, no, you could do them whenever. Yeah. I will say this, just pertaining to runes and healing, my favorite healer is the first one you ever get.
Oh, yeah. She's
Francesca.
Great. Yeah, she's pretty great.
Because, like, you see her in town and she's being accosted by, like, 3 dudes who are, like, creepy and rapey in an obvious way where any decent human being would be like, I should probably step in and, like, help her tell these guys to fuck off. Yeah. Like, it's set up clearly that way. And let's just say, because I don't want to spoil, this is one thing I don't want to spoil for you, JJ, because it's a moment that'll make you smile really hard. Let's just say she doesn't need your help.
Yeah, she doesn't need your help.
No matter how sweet and innocent, She doesn't need your help.
Yeah, she's pretty good. She's cool.
How's the luchador party member?
I forgot his name
don't actually
already.
have him yet.
Yeah,
And,
I was gonna say, judging from where he was, I know he doesn't have him yet. He's not bad. He doesn't have that much or too much of a role. You have a really cool scene with him though. I will give him that, and so he's pretty dope.
I appreciate you guys were talking about some of the weird party member stuff, and I really like that. Like, someone that I follow on Twitter has been playing the original Shadow Hearts on stream.
Nice.
So she's been posting like a lot of like Shadow Hearts gifs and stuff like that. But I'm like, yeah, but Shadow Hearts Covenant though, when you have like a vampiric luchador in your party, is like peak.
Yeah.
You know, like I love that type of shit.
That's on our list. JJ and I, for the show, we need to play Shadow Hearts Covenant.
That's so good. Yeah.
God, I really want to play it with you. Like, I miss it. I mean, I'm in the middle of something super important and close to my heart right now that I'm playing, so I don't have time to go back and play it on my own. But we're going to play it together probably as soon as we're done with what we're doing now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, but, I mean...
Counterpoint, Breath of Fire 3.
That's a good counterpoint. I didn't really have a defense ready for that.
That's fair.
You know what? We have to come back to you on that because
Okay.
the thing I do want to mention, story wise, without any real spoilers, to Eiyuden Chronicle is there is a point where they're trying to sort of harken back to the Trinity system of the three main characters without making it like without a main character, if that makes sense. Because there is a main character, but there's also two people who could easily fill the shoes of protagonist as you play the game. All three of them are intensely powerful characters who, like, you know, Sane has, like, his starting rune lets you attack a whole row of enemies with swords that fall from the sky. He's rad. You know, the main character from the start of it, Noah, starts with a rune that lets him like eight times combo attack an enemy just like out of left field.
Yep.
Like,
still use that at the end of the game. Yep. It's pretty good.
Oh yeah, that rune is very useful.
Yeah.
And Marissa, the third character, like, her basic attacks whittle down armor.
Yeah. Like,
whittle down armor ratings and can shatter armor. So she is, like, intensely useful. And I will say, like, one of the story points that warmed my heart was when you get all three of the characters from Eiyuden Chronicle Rising back together.
Yeah, me too.
And they have like a little adventure that you go on with them.
Yeah,
that's how I discovered the 6-person combo attack. Was like, I lined it up, but I happened to have Marissa and Sane with me at the time. For story reasons, and I was like, oh wait, this isn't real.
Yeah,
you're trolling me. This isn't real. It's real.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
Yeah, it's very real, but. In terms of taking away the idea of, like, using spells, they did make magicians a lot more useful for regular attacking and their, like,
that is
special skill.
I will agree with
they have
that.
Stuff
You're
like
right.
Because they have things where it's like, oh, this is just my special skill. Like, I can create a shield, or I can create, like, a column of ice, or, you know, depending on, you know...
That is true.
Who they are and, like, their story... like, and backstory for how and why they are. They do play around with that a bit more. And honestly, using the spells, with the exception of the water runes, is not really all that necessary. So it lets you play around with the skill runes more.
Yeah, the damage aspect of them doesn't really do much. A lot of it's almost every rune just about has some sort of healing element. Most of them do. Like, there's like Earth, I think you can heal statuses with it. Like Wind has the little healing thing. Water obviously is the healing one. I think Fire is the damage dealing one, and that one does have eventually like a really powerful aspect to it. And then there's like, dark and light. Each have its own little thing going on. They're not bad, but like, I guess I wish they were a little bit better so that you'd want to use them. A little bit more.
Well, so in a far cry from the original Suikoden games, offensively, the best runes that I like for my strategies are the wind runes and the earth runes. Yeah. Because the earth rune is not just a support rune with like one attack now. The earth rune attack also shatters enemy armor and can also like slow their speed so that they take actions later.
Right.
And like actively makes it so that you can like set up a whole party strategy where they can't like interrupt you halfway and stun a character. And the wind runes, when you get to the higher tier of them, they have the skill that like basically boosts everyone's attack power.
Yeah, buffs your party and speed at the same time, if I remember correctly. It's really good.
Attack power and speed for every member of your party get boosted at the same time. And in terms of MP cost, it's not that much more for that spell than it is for like some of the much less useful ones.
It almost feels like all the support magic is like excellent, but like anything like offense based isn't super great, if that makes sense. Like if you're trying to directly damage an enemy, like it doesn't matter, but like all your support magic is awesome. Yeah, like even the light rune has at one of the later stages of it has basically like what the wind rune has, but it like puts regen on your characters and stuff like that. So it's like that's pretty useful. Like you just gain if you get hit by an attack, you just gain a certain amount of it back, which that's always good. I was using that on something, it was working. But yeah. It's good. I guess the only aspect of the MP part is like you don't get to use it during like your regular battles because you're trying to save it for the boss, and like especially early in the game you don't get a lot of stuff to gain your MP back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, MP is treated as a very precious resource until about like late part of the mid game.
Yeah. There's a certain point where it's like, okay, now it's fine, go nuts. But in the beginning of the game, it's like, well, I gotta save this all for the boss, I think, or else I'm just not.
Yeah, or else I'm gonna have like no way to heal except using like a medicine on one character, and that's not gonna do anything for me.
It's not gonna do much, right? So yeah. That I guess that's my criticism of it. But other than that, like, not too bad. I'm
really glad. Like, as someone who kickstarted the game, right? Like, I'm glad that it came out and seems to be, well, like doing well, but also mega fans like you guys are like, getting what you wanted out of it, right? Like, I loved those first 3 Suikoden games. I didn't play anything after that, but it's not like one of my all-time favorite franchises, right? Like, I was just really stoked to like kickstart a game of this type, from the original team.
I was so mad that I missed the Kickstarter. I found out about it because I've never been like on the cutting edge of gaming. Well, I'll say 99% of the time, I'm not on the cutting edge of gaming. Part of the reason I joke that we're doing a retro show is because I'm about 5 years late to every party I've ever been to.
That's fair.
So I was just Googling like Suikoden stuff for some reason. And like I found the Kickstarter because somebody had mentioned it like on Reddit. And I was like, oh, what's this Kickstarter? And I was like looking at it and going over it. And I was like, oh, it's already ended. How much did it raise? Holy shit.
Right.
Yeah. They hit so many stretch goals. They had to invent new stretch goals.
Right.
Like, holy God.
Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely gave me hope for humanity.
Yeah. It was very heartwarming. And then I saw who was making it and I was like, this might be one of my favorite games when it comes out. I need to keep tabs on this. I need to join the Discord. I need to get on and like make sure I keep up with like the press releases and stuff for this. And it is. I would say at this moment it is definitely on my list of like this is one of my favorite games.
Nice. That's awesome.
And it's going to remain so for quite some time down the road.
I've liked it a lot. I don't know if it's quite on Unicorn Overlord status for me. Like I think I would put it under that personally. But I still really
love
like
Unicorn Overlord.
Unicorn Overlord. Yeah. I mean, storyline wise, like this one's way better than Unicorn Overlord. Unicorn Overlord didn't have anything going storyline wise. This one's a lot better.
Wait, you mean Fire Emblem Unicorn Overlord didn't have a real story to it?
No. They tried their best, I think. No, they didn't. Who am I kidding? They didn't.
Yeah.
There's some cool lore in there that I really enjoy.
Yeah, that they give you all at once toward the end of the game.
So that's what it happens. I've been looking for it.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
I mean, I was kind of hoping the Plague Doctor would go somewhere, and then it was like, no, this is for one battle of lore.
That's for one thing. Yeah,
I got that Plague Doctor so late. Like, I had completely missed that area. Like, I was almost at the end of the game. But she ended up being exactly what I needed for like one group. I was like, this group needed a healer. Thank goodness.
She's pretty all right.
I love Unicorn Overlord because it harkens back to the Ogre Battle games
very much. Yeah.
Another thing that will take like 150 episodes, JJ, but we will do it.
Yeah.
It will happen. Just after we've done some stuff to like cleanse our palate of Quest 64 and get back in a good mood, then we'll do Ogre Battle.
That's how that goes. But Eiyuden Chronicles has been great. I'm like I said, I'm right at the end. I really liked it so far. I don't see it botching it completely at where I'm at right now. I'm like, it's pretty great.
I saw one complaint that actively made me laugh out loud.
Oh, you'll have a couple, yeah.
It was on Steam, and a guy, like the title of it, I won't repeat like a ton of the words from it because this guy was an idiot of one of the highest calibers. But the title was "The Devs Ruined This Game for Me," and basically all you need to know is he played through the game and missed the story beat where you're supposed to have all the characters in order to get the super happy ending. And then when he couldn't get the super happy ending, he was like, "This game is bullshit. I went back and tried to get everyone, and now I can't get like this one character because I had to have everyone before this one point." I'm like, you've never played a Suikoden game before.
Played a Suikoden game. Yeah, there's a ton of stuff like that where it's like,
you maybe haven't played a game before because there are so many games that have the secret super happy ending hidden behind like timed stuff where it's like if you like reach this point in the game and you didn't bother fixing this problem or like doing this side quest, then you don't get the super happy ending. It's been a part of game design.
Have you ever played a game where you have to recruit characters? Because most of them are like that.
Yeah,
he probably his version of Mass Effect 2 ended with like most of the crew of the Normandy being dead because like he didn't have the impetus to be like, oh, I should probably go do this thing now. So
but them though. But they're very important, and they're the only ones that played the video game. You guys didn't play it right. We all played it wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's the
Obviously.
thing. When the response was, "Hey, just so you know, this is a normal thing in game design. Here's like 8 different examples, and here's the games that inspired this game, and the exact examples that game uses as well."
That those things did.
And the response to that was, "I'm sorry, I don't think you read what I said correctly, because I'm not talking about any of those games. I'm talking about Eiyuden Chronicle." And I was just like,
"Oh yeah,
I don't need to read the rest of this review because you are here because anger is the only thing that has sustained you for the past 20 years, and if you let it go, it'll be like drinking from the wrong grail. Like you'll just age and die instantly." Nothing can save you.
There was a
anger.
good amount of Eiyuden Chronicle reviews on Steam where I read them and I just went, "Oh, these are the types of people that I just hope never enjoy another video game in their lives." That's just
the
exactly
curse that should be on them.
Yeah, I just hope
you never enjoy another game.
I hope gaming's just never fun for you ever. That's what I hope for.
I mean, but to be fair, it doesn't seem like it ever is when they write reviews like that,
and that's great. Yeah. I'm glad. That's what I want for them. I just hope they never have fun again playing video games, and that's what their lives are.
They like being angry and miserable, and they're welcome to it.
Yeah,
As long as
exactly.
they don't inflict it upon everybody else.
Yes.
If you're
Look,
one of those
even-
people, like, I just want to put this out there in the ether on this show. Normally I'm all about like, hey, come watch us. We're funny. Like, listen to Stage Select. These guys are awesome. Like, do this, like, go watch Game Logica. It's a great thing. If you're actively like that, please don't watch my show.
I don't.
You're
think
not
I
going
worry
to
about
enjoy it. Like, you're not going to get anything out of it except for that
Yeah.
life-giving rage. And
Mhm.
I don't feel like supplying you with that, so please don't.
Yeah.
Like our lowest review on Nerds Without Pants, our old show,
that was fun.
for political low blows.
Yeah.
And it amused us greatly.
It was good. We made it.
Okay.
We made it at that point. That's how it goes.
I mean, I've heard through the grapevine, if I may, I'm just going to warn you ahead of time so that you can edit this out. And if you decide to, just cut ahead and, I don't know, put redacted or something, like just put that in. But I've heard through the grapevine, I cannot confirm the veracity, but I have heard that Ted Cruz, Senator Ted Cruz from Texas, pisses his pants regularly because he enjoys the warm feeling. And it's the only way he can get it.
Yeah.
This
sounds
is
right
just
to me.
something I've heard.
That seems
More power
attractive.
to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who are we to judge, really?
I'll judge him heavily and
Yeah.
liberally.
I mean, we don't kink shame on retrofits, but I'm not on retrofits right now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He's not.
I also don't. That doesn't sound like a kink. That sounds like just like a
sad
like a
man with
comfort
a sad need. Yeah.
Yeah.
From a hygiene standpoint alone, that seems like a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on
Eiyuden
from
Chronicles.
that.
It's good.
Moving on from that, Eiyuden Chronicles is amazing. Most of the
It's
people
great.
who are detractors of it have complaints that are very dumb and don't stand up to scrutiny against years upon years upon years
Right.
of successful and celebrated game design.
Yeah.
So
I can understand some criticisms of it not being for certain people because like not having an attachment to those games and coming into there are certain design philosophies that aren't for everybody. I totally get that.
but I mean that's inherently baked into every game.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
The fact
Yes.
that is the way that it is actually comforting. Like,
Yes.
it's not for everyone.
I'm 100% with you on that. Yeah, there's times where I'm playing this, I'm like, I could see somebody who'd never played these games hating this right here,
Yeah.
but I'm super into it. Like, that's exactly it.
There is somebody who does not enjoy like these things and is going to play this and hate it. And the only thing I really feel bad about is that I feel like it's a waste of their time because I like 90% of the time, 95% of the time, that person's not like a gross, disgusting monster.
No,
they just
no,
play
no.
different games and have like a joyous experience.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, it's like if you're the type of because a lot of the thing that I saw online was basically the type of person, and I was one of these. Don't get me wrong, but the type of person who grew up playing a lot of like console RPGs. That then, when the 360 era came out, got really into Western RPGs, like, computer style RPGs, but then didn't go back. And so then, 20 years later, they're like playing this and they're like, oh, this is just like the stuff that I played like when I was a teenager. And it's like, yeah. That's what they were going for.
That's what
There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
And that reason is they wanted to make all the money again.
Right.
They already made all the money on Kickstarter. They wanted to go for the double
the people
trophy.
that were kids
Right.
then,
Yes.
They
now
wanted
have
to
kids of
win
their own.
capitalism, and they're getting close.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
The Stage Select is made possible through the support and funding of viewers like you. Here are our wonderful patrons.
Speaking of winning capitalism, Justin, I think there's a good opportunity for us to thank our patrons.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. Let's do that. Okay, hold on. I'm not ready. Okay, now I'm ready. Go.
Excellent. We appreciate all of our patrons, but every week we thank our executive producer tier of patrons. So this week we have Bookie.
We have Casey Curran.
We have David Portnov.
We have X-Rian.
We have Matt Jorgensen.
We have Philip P.K. Becker.
We have Stephen Lobo.
And we have Xavier Krager.
Yes, thanks to everybody that supports the show on Patreon. You can find the link for that in the show notes and check it out. We just released a pretty fun, like, kind of cutting room floor patron special that was a lot of fun to cut together. Just kind of letting you see, like, some of the bullshit that we talk about before and after the shows. And we'll definitely have more of those going forward and got some other plans going. Oh, Justin, real quick, have you thought any further about I decided on a name for this new patron special. I think I will call it the Suffer Select.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now I would like to throw this out into the ether. If we need Julian to suffer, we should make him play card games.
It's not that I don't like card games. Again, it is how much time am I willing to set aside in another game for a mini game?
No, but we should go really in depth and make you play them.
We should cut apart all of the card game mini games for the past 10 years in other games and just like sit down and enjoy the sensation of watching you try to understand the rules of any of them.
My Witcher 3 save is still on my Xbox. We can just boot that up and go around and play Gwent, and you'll learn. You'll learn to appreciate it.
Let's all play Caravan from Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah.
One thing has been made abundantly clear from our listeners in the Discord is that they love themselves some board games. And I think watching me, like, blunder my way through a card game will just make them rage in a way that they're not prepared for.
I don't know about that. I think it'll be fun.
But there's also the distinct possibility that they will find it to be the most hilarious thing they've ever seen in their lives. Because, sometimes, and I'm not saying that this is necessarily a good way or a bad way to live, but sometimes joy is a zero-sum game. Mm-hmm. And the fun that someone is having is fueled entirely by your suffering.
That's right.
Oh no, yeah, that's why I had the idea for the Suffer Select. Like,
and I'm just gonna
Choo Choo Charles too.
JJ, you can go straight to hell.
Yeah.
You can go straight.
Guess what? We're never playing on the show. I'm just gonna throw this up there to our listeners. Magic the Gathering Arena is free, and Julian could download it and play it.
That is true. We could be friends on Magic the Gathering Arena. I actually really, I will sit down and just dick around on that sometimes because
I really should. I haven't played it in so long, and I love Magic.
I mean, I'm used to games of Magic taking upwards of like 30 minutes to an hour.
Oh,
and Magic the Gathering Arena.
Yeah,
you could beat a game of like Arena against another player or lose, as is the case for me more often than not. Like within 5 to 10 minutes. Like it's a short.
I remember
game.
I remember in high school we went. There's like 6 of us, if I remember right, but we were playing a 500 life game of Magic.
Oh my god!
Did you enjoy the pain that came with that?
Yeah,
I mean. Is this why whenever we see a very tall woman, you always wonder what she would look like with a whip and some really high boots? Like, was this the origin of that?
Here's the thing. I was rocking a Black Pestilence deck, and so I was doing like 50 damage every single turn.
Oh, you were that asshole.
And
yeah, he was. He was.
You were that bitch at the club. I get it.
Well, there was also somebody that was rocking an unglued deck and had the BF.
Oh God, yeah.
The BFM.
Yeah. Oh,
I remember that.
So I ended up coming in second because they were just able to wipe out everybody. But because I was... they also had it to where they were getting health back every single turn
they brought the giant space laser to, like, the Lord of the Rings battle, basically.
Yeah, basically, yeah. That's kind of how that worked out.
I ended up doing the most damage because I was just hurting every single person on the board.
See, listeners, we can make Julian do this. This is what what could happen.
I just want to take a moment to speak directly to friend of the show, Mike Fallick, who's listening to this episode. Motherfucker, I want an apology for my Videoverse discussion from episode 4, because this is the nerdiest shit that's ever been on this podcast.
No.
You had guests on with the promise of being funny, and instead you got stories from Magic the Gathering High School.
That's right.
Eat that.
Listen,
hey, look, I played Doom Trooper at every day at lunch when I was in high school. I get it.
Yeah.
Nobody remembers Doom Trooper, but it was neat. Very cool
you,
designs.
Julian. I believe you.
Yes.
Now,
hell, I remember Oregon Trail days in the computer class.
Yeah.
That whole thing passed me up. I had never heard of Oregon Trail until I was like 6 years out of high school. And I have never played it. Like I've seen screenshots of it at this point, but I've never played it. Like didn't even know about it.
You never died of dysentery.
I did not.
No, because I'm a good person and Terry is an okay guy. Why would I have ever died of dysentery?
Yeah.
Very well done,
and
sir.
that was
bad.
I will take a bow for having delivered.
That one hurt a little bit.
The worst
Me and
dad
James right
joke.
now are the strong arm meme, clasping our hands.
That hurt a little bit. I'm not
Making
gonna lie,
stage
guys.
select, making retrofits, loving dad jokes.
Oh yeah.
Hey, to be fair, I absolutely love puns, and James suffers from them quite often.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, I'll make the dad jokes, and JJ will suffer, and then JJ will, like, just completely surprise backhand me with some puns. It's a beautiful rivalry.
That's good.
It's the
That's
highest
good.
form of humor. I
Well,
learned that on True Blood.
You say that.
I mean, okay.
Justin,
Well, what?
I really don't have much to bring to the table this week.
well,
I have something brief, but I was wondering, actually.
Okay, hold on. Before you do that, Julian, I've come up with something new.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't mention it at the top of the thing because I wanted to blindside you with it.
No, that's what we
And
do.
all of us as well.
And all of you as well. So, I've been paying attention to the Discord. And I found that our listeners really, really enjoy it when we talk about sports. I did see that. So I've started a new section, where we talk about the one thing that I'm pretty sure we're all familiar with. And that's San Diego Padres baseball.
Check them out.
That was the wrong segment. Let me play it again. That's the one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's the sport one. Sorry, I hit two buttons at the same time.
It's a rather robust group of fellows. Tell me, which color are we rooting for?
Well, the San Diego Padres, I'm looking at their depth chart right now. There's a man, he's got a name. It's Cronenworth, which is similar to Cronenberg.
Who is a star on Star Trek Discovery, which is a show made by Paramount Plus where no one has ever subscribed before.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to see how many trains I could wreck on the way there. I apologize. So Cronenworth.
Yeah. He's got 24 RBIs. That's good. It means he hit.
Oh man!
RBIs.
Like, is he wrapping it up with like that? If he's got that many RBIs, like I really feel that he needs to be telling his partners.
You're thinking of
24.
STIs. That's
not possible. Hold on. Wait. 24 because the highest number is 20 for initiative.
Oh, right. No, that's you're thinking of a different thing. I can't possibly be RBI. It's a baseball thing, right? It's run to the base initiative. It's like how fast you can start to sprint once you hit the ball. No. It's
based on your character's luck.
Oh,
yeah.
Casey Curran hates this.
Yeah.
Oh, he is seething right now.
Are any of you familiar with slugging percentage?
I am aware that I will be quite high the next time I walk out in public, thanks to what I just said.
That's how many shells you have ready to load into your shotgun.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's going to be a Barbarian class exclusive.
A shotgun is truly a man's weapon because you have to give it a hand job every time you want to fire a shot. And that is the end of my segment on that.
Yeah. That's
I'll be here all week. Tip your bartender.
All right. I probably will because I'm a millennial and I tip people.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know what's,
as you should.
I don't actually know what slugging percentage is. I have no idea. I would like to know, and I'm sure somebody's itching to tell me, and I can't wait to ignore that comment.
Somebody has already typed out what it was. Yeah. Like the second you asked, do you know what slugging percentage is? Somebody paused the podcast.
They did.
So that they could write an 8-page treatise.
That's right.
That's right. Everything that has to do with the history and current application of slugging percentage. And I have to tell you, person writing that comment right now, I've said it 3 times now in a row in one sitting, and I still don't have any clue what I'm saying.
That's right.
So
all I know about slugging percentage is that if you pour salt on it, it goes way down.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I was waiting for that. I'm glad somebody did it.
I remember they had it on Tosh.0. It was a slapping contest. You got 2 guys standing across from the table, and they're just open hands slapping each other in the face as hard as they can.
They do that in baseball too. One of them passes out.
They don't slap each other in the face in baseball, don't they?
Yeah, I was about to say, don't they slap each other on the ass in baseball?
Yeah, it's a very S&M sport, which I'm down for. But you know, it's public and it's for kids, which is a little strange.
I mean, they have to choke up at the bat, and normally you need at least a special room for that.
That's true. That's fair. Well, before we stop talking about the sports, who you guys? How do you guys think the Padres are looking this season? Who you think is going to be the MVP of the team?
Are they a major league team or a minor league team?
They are a major league baseball team.
Then I think
somebody just absolutely lost their mind at you saying that, which is my favorite thing.
Hey, person who just lost your mind, come to RetroFits. I'll show you I don't know anything about any sport.
It's great. I love it.
I mean, back whenever I actually paid attention to baseball, whenever I was 8.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, no, that's fair.
Oh, that person that hates me just shifted all of it. Thank you,
JJ.
Yeah,
it's all on him now. Yeah.
No, I was always an Atlanta Braves fan.
Okay, Atlanta Braves. Yeah, they had a television contract, so that makes sense. Very popular in Georgia because Atlanta. I imagine they would be. Well. I think the Padres are going to win some games. I don't know if they've won any because I haven't really been looking at their record overall.
But I mean, they have to win some eventually, right?
I mean, it's just basic math, right? They can't lose all of the games. Well, so
yeah, they're not the Cleveland Browns.
There's like over 100 games in a season for Major League, and but statistically alone, they got to win at least.
They got to win at least some, right? They're going to do good.
I will say this for baseball players. Endurance is a really important part of the sport, and I do respect the people who are like, you know what, I'm gonna play baseball as my career, that actually get up to the majors, because that's a lot of commitment. 100 games in a series means that you're spending at least half the year either playing baseball or in between baseball games, preparing for the next one. That's and then the other half of the year is training so that you don't suck the next time you have to play baseball. It's an intense life. So as much as I can say I know nothing about the sport and I have no real desire to know more about the sport than that, I do respect the people who play it, because it's an extremely taxing commitment, much more so than football or well, I guess basketball also has that sort of endurance play to it, because the football area of playing is so small. Yeah, and you play once a week, and I get that it's more physical, but baseball takes out the contact and puts in, no, your ass is running for the entire time. You're gonna run for half a year. Have fun.
Yeah, soccer is about the only one where, those guys are just, they can run for days.
Yeah, that's true. I was going to say baseball players, they're not really running a whole, I mean, they run, right? They're going to run.
Some of them are in the outfield eating grass. I remember that much.
They do a little sprint to a base and then they hang out and then a man strikes out and then they go back into the dugout and eat celery. I don't know what they eat.
I mean, the last baseball game I went to, I was really trying to get yakisoba from one of the stands. Because the stadium here in Albuquerque, the minor league stadium that we have, is rad. It's really rad. First off, like, it's a baseball stadium, so everything's overpriced, but the selections they have are really good. First off, they believe in actual spicy food, because it's New Mexico. All right. Okay, and second off, there's a yakisoba cart, and there's like all kinds of like weird selections just on carts. Like, I saw one that was rattlesnake and rabbit sausage for a hot dog. And I was like,
interesting. That's interesting.
Huh. And how much is that? Oh, it's $17. I'll try it next time. Well, I'll try it next time. Well, and my brother,
a predator and prey, sausage. Nice.
Yeah, my brother-in-law got it, and he like sat down and ate it, and it was like all dressed up because it was a hot dog at a ball game, classic Americana. Yeah, and he like bit into it and he ate the whole thing. I was like, "How was it?" And he was like, "It kind of just tasted like a hot dog." And I was like, "That may be the most disappointing review of something called rattlesnake and rabbit sausage that anyone could have ever given." I think that was peak disappointment.
Yeah.
No one has ever been as disappointed as you have in this moment.
I'm sorry that happened.
Do you guys think that the groupies for the Padres call all the players daddy?
I would be disappointed if the answer was no.
Okay,
but I also
all right.
don't want to know if the answer is yes.
Guys, I feel like we're all down with OBP, and us.
Yeah, you know me.
So it's time to. Yeah, I do know you. I think it's time for us to move on. Go Padres. Charge. Yeah. We did it.
Did it.
We did.
That was sports talk. That was Padres talk. We don't have a good name for it either.
Welcome to Talk. Welcome to Sports Talk with the Stage Select video game variety show hosts. Guest starring RetroFits, the Let's Play comedy dumbasses.
You're all welcome.
So this week was actually like, honestly, surprisingly, I guess not surprisingly, mostly Harold Halibut, which I'm not going to talk about. I'll wait until I finish it, but it ended up like grabbing me, like I mentioned it might last week, and I'm like halfway through it now.
Nice.
So I am enjoying it, but I'll save any additional talk until I finish it for final thoughts.
I know you posted a piece of music from it, and it was a good music.
Yeah, soundtrack is excellent.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I do love a good soundtrack.
Yeah.
Couldn't find an isolated version of it yet, but it's early days, so hopefully like that stuff comes out, because
I keep looking for the Eiyuden Chronicles soundtrack and I can't find it anywhere. So
we're probably going to have to murder a man to get something like that. That might never be fully released.
We're
gonna have to do Dark
Deals.
We'll have
a special edition with the ODT.
Yeah. So
the digital deluxe edition that came out does not have the OST.
No, it does not.
Really?
It does not. It has some useful and fun little tidbits that they threw in, and it's good. And you cannot get the physical collector's edition because that's backer only. And I was about a month late for that.
Yeah. So I floating around in the ether, there is like a version of the soundtrack, but it's not the full one, because there's a song that I really like towards the end of the game that I can't find anywhere, like not even on YouTube, posted by somebody. So I'm like, I'm kind of like, man, this is bumming me out a little bit. So I'm hoping that kind of
give it time. Someone will end up ripping the whole thing.
Yeah, somebody will definitely.
So I did try one thing new that I'll talk about briefly, because I didn't play it much. But there is a game that came out on Game Pass this week called Another Crab's Treasure.
Okay.
Which I just found out about recently. And if you're not aware of this game, visually it looks like a very kid friendly, like mascot platform type game, right?
Okay.
You're playing this little crab, like, in the shallow reefs and stuff like that. But it is actually what I like to call as a death action RPG, or a Souls-like, if you will, right? Where it is, very much about like learning the game through dying and repetition and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
I also like the way that Brock Wilbur a couple episodes referred to it at calling them parry games. I like that moniker as well.
Yeah.
It's got a really cool setup because it's very like it kind of hits you where you live, because basically what happens is this crab's just been chilling in this tide pool for his whole life, and this loan shark comes up and says, "Hey, this is now part of the duchy. Like the Duchess, is having me collect for back taxes, and you haven't paid your back taxes, so I'm going to repo your house, i.e., your shell, right?" So loan shark steals the crab's shell. The crab's name is Krill. And so your quest is to go to the castle to talk to the Duchess to get your house back. Like that is the thrust of the game. So, it's very like whimsical and it's got like a nice sense of humor to it. And so I start playing the game, and it's like, because one of the things that I've talked about both on this show and our old show Nerds Without Pants is that the FromSoft like aesthetic for their fantasy RPGs does nothing for me. I think it's just a little overwrought and over designed, and it's whatever. So it's like I've been saying like, man, I would really like a game that's this style, but has a a more interesting look to it, right? And this is definitely doing that.
Yeah, that is very interesting. I've just pulled up Steam to look it up, and like I'm looking at it now, and like of course the first thing that comes up is like an image from the opening game, and I'm like, this is a very cute aesthetic. Very cute. I could see playing this game and really just enjoying the overall look of the world. And I love I love the description. The description was clearly written by somebody who was like, I want to get as many people as possible to buy this game just to find out what the hell's going on. It says, and I quote, "In a vibrant undersea kingdom on the verge of collapse, a hermit crab embarks on a treasure hunt to buy back his repossessed shell."
Yes.
The second game from Aggro Crab. And I was like, what is happening?
Your first weapon is a rusty fork.
Just
you
like
use
real life.
trash as like the duchy wants to be paid in trash. Like they're like, oh no, we don't want this kelp. Like we use trash now. And then also
that is very sad.
The souls currency that you would expect from these types of games that you use for both leveling up and upgrading and buying stuff is microplastics.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Good.
They're not being subtle in the slightest.
No, not at all.
I'm sad now.
Yes. And the world looks very trashy. There's like cigarette butts in the sand everywhere and shit like that. And so I start playing the game, and I'm like, oh no, I'm kind of digging this vibe, and I'm digging this aesthetic, right? And start, getting into the tutorial. And like the first thing that you get to a part before you start combat where it's like, you learn that you can like basically like hold down the jump button to like swim, which is sort of like it would be like a float in any other game, right? It's like, okay, cool. So you can kind of like float to platforms and stuff like that. And then there was like this little part where it was obvious, like, okay, I need to swim over to this platform. And then, there's like some netting, and you're supposed to like aim for the netting, climb up to that platform, and then jump to another platform, latch onto that netting. And there's an item up there. It's like, okay, yeah, I'll go do that. And my first try, I make it for the netting, and I jump up on that first platform, and then the camera like freaks out on me, and I ended up missing the jump, and I'm like, okay, well, let me try that again. And then like I tried like 3 more times and couldn't actually make it to that first platform again. And as I'm doing it, I'm like, this jumping doesn't feel good. And I'm hoping that like the game isn't like really hinging on the platforming element of it, because this doesn't feel right. Yeah. And so I get a little deeper into the game, and I get my weapon, and so they start to introduce the combat. And one of the first tutorial things is the dodge. And it's like, okay, cool. Like I've done these games like
with most Souls-like games, you either dodge or you die.
Exactly, and it's like, no, yeah, I'm gonna dodge the fuck out of this attack, and it's like, oh, that felt real bad. Like that felt like the mushiest dodge that I've played. Well, like it's actually pretty recent. It feels on par with the dodge from Stellar Blade, which also did not feel good. And I was like, okay, like,
but you expect that game to be kind of soft and a little squishy, though, right? I mean, just
you do
aesthetically.
Yeah.
That's all I know about that game. That's literally all I know about that game is that there are boobles and everybody's losing their minds that 1 inch of fabric was added to an outfit. 1 inch of fabric on an outfit that only had 1 inch to begin with.
Yeah. Well,
I've somehow completely like I understand that there is like some sort of like weird petition to like uncensor the game, but I actually am not aware of like what got censored. So it is literally they on one of the outfits that had underboob. They actually added something in the outfit that makes practical sense. In the like one piece swimsuit looking gray outfit that was basically just held together with hopes and dreams more so than any kind of fabric.
Fair.
It has a bikini cut instead of a thong cut. And you know what? None of these outfits still leave a lot to the imagination.
Right.
And so the people who are complaining about it because they wanted to look at the hot girl in skimpier outfits than she's already in, which are very skimpy still, I just want you to know that I swear I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum after this, even on this show, but you have a problem. And that is the problem that cannot be solved by uncensoring the game. The people who are arguing that Sony as a company should not have the power to cover up what the devs created or force them to cover up what they created, that argument holds weight with me on the basis that Sony is evil.
That's fair.
They make a really awesome gaming console, and they are like first party creators of some cool games, and they make semi-good electronics, and they are mostly an evil corporation, hell-bent on winning capitalism by forcing every other player to die. That's
the game.
So I agree with the idea that they should not have control over media to the point that they can force the creator of a piece of media to backtrack on something that they created.
Yeah, but my understanding of this situation, because Sony has done that a lot recently, especially if like the game comes from Japan, like, they will censor the shit out of like the outfits, but then, the full on nudity in like a Western game is fine, right?
Yeah.
But my understanding of the Stellar Blade thing is that no, the devs actually just changed the outfit because they thought it looked better.
Okay. So my understanding was that it was Sony doing it. If it was actually the devs doing it, then fuck off, people.
Yeah.
It's their game.
Right.
They're going to make it the way they want to. And the fact that you're complaining about it and boycotting it because they decided that an outfit actually made more sense like this than in your weird porn fantasy.
Yeah.
I feel like them losing that $60 actually feels better when they sleep at night,
Yeah.
You can get this stuff for free, There is this thing called the internet.
Yeah, there's so much of it.
Also, this game's going to come to PC, and I've seen the mods that you people have done on the Resident Evil remakes. I've seen the YouTube clips. So
I've seen the Tifa mods. We've all seen them.
And I figured that like the people who would really be wanting that type of shit are just going to wait for the PC version anyway. So like, it's just bullshit posturing.
Yeah.
I mean, 90% of them are like PC master race gamers anyway. So I don't know what they're complaining about with the PlayStation one.
Again, some people just want to be angry.
Can I interest you in reading the like 30-page dissertation on breast and butt physics on like Skyrim modding pages, because they're all there.
I'm going to say with absolute certainty that I would rather die.
Yeah, no, you probably would.
If somebody was standing behind me and they were like, you're either going to let him read that whole thing to you or I'm going to blow your brains out from the back, I would say, it better be a big caliber, buddy, because if you're a bad shot, I don't want to live through it.
Oh, man, it's insane.
Yeah, what's your slug percentage like?
Oh, yeah. You're going to want to know.
Let me point you at Dead or Alive, where they have a specific engine just for boobs.
Yes, it was very heavily utilized in Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball 1, 2, and 3. Not that I
Yeah.
would know anything about.
Let's not
that.
relitigate the Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball 3 debacle. Because that's the one that we didn't get that one, right? Is that the one they were all angry about back in the day?
No, we did. We did.
Oh,
get
we did.
3. I don't think we got 2. Is the one we didn't get.
But there
Because
was
3
one of
is
them we
readily
didn't.
available.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's definitely one that we didn't get, and people were pissed. And it's like, but no, the company probably just was like, these don't sell, so we're not going to.
Yeah, the first one didn't sell a whole lot, and who it did sell to is not necessarily who we want to associate
Pinnacle
with our
of
company.
society. Yeah. What are you going to do?
So back to Another Crab's Treasure, so I get a little deeper in, right, and it's got some cool things, right? Like I had seen the reviews, right? So like some of the bosses, like they've strapped like human stuff to their bodies to make their weapons and stuff like that. Again, very cool concept, but after I died on like the second enemy, again. Like I was trying to like dodge and stuff like that, and it just didn't feel right. And then I played a little bit longer, and it's one of those things. One of those pretty standard Souls-like things where it's like you go to fight one enemy, it's like, oh, another one just popped up out of the ground. That you didn't know about that until now you will, and so now you'll be prepared. And it killed me again, and I haven't noped out of a game that fast in a long time, and it's really because it is one of the worst feeling games that I've touched in a while.
Good.
I just don't like the feel of it at all.
Oh, the first time I noped out of Elden Ring for like at least like 3 or 4 days before I came back to it was the first time that I ran into just the giant ghostly skeleton out of nowhere that shoots giant fuck off space lasers at you from its eye. And I was like, no, if I wanted to fight Sans, I would go back in time, turn myself into a psychopath, and play the genocide run of Undertale. I'm not doing this right now.
Yeah.
I do not have the capacity to handle what just happened to me. And then I went back to it like 3 or 4 days later, and I was like, oh, somebody is summoning it, and I could just kill them. Okay. I'm better.
Yeah. I had a moment similar to that in Elden Ring where I was just like going to explore this one like cliff like thing that I hadn't explored before, and this like ginormous bear just appeared out of nowhere and killed me, and I was like,
bears.
Like I'm fine. Like if you telegraph the bear and it kills me, like that's just fucking bullshit, guys. Like there's no way to prepare for that. But all that to say that after like noping out of Another Crab's Treasure, I was like, oh, you know what? It's time to reinstall Elden Ring and get that Shadow of the Erd Tree character like ready to go.
There you go.
I saw that post on Twitter. I love that you're basing him on Kane Highwind from Final Fantasy IV.
Oh yeah. So I had started that character actually after I finished my second run last year. That was last year. And it's one of those things where it's like when I reinstalled it, I was thinking, okay, should I just like start from the beginning again, like start with a brand new character? But let me see, because I remember I'd started a character. Let me see where they're at, because they're like, I forget the YouTube channel. There is this one video that I saw that's like a really good like way that you can set up a character, like kind of, get like a shit ton of runes and a shit ton of like smithing stones and stuff like that, and really set yourself up to like kind of breeze through the early game in just a couple hours. And so I was like, oh no, I already did that with this character, and this is the build that I was thinking of. So yeah, I'm coming up with like a Dragoon build for myself, and yeah, I did name him Kane Highwind, which is my favorite Dragoon.
Nice.
And so yeah, so the goal is, pole arms as the main weapon, going for like a strength and faith build to also have dragon incantations later on in the game. So, really kind of like hammering on the Dragoon aspect of things. But I fire up this character, and he's like 2 hours in, and he's level 42 because I'd set myself up really well, and I'm like, where am I? Like, what should I do here? And I was looking at the map, and I was like, well, clearly I need to go like fight Morgott, but I don't really feel like doing Stormvale Castle right now. Like I haven't played this game in months. Like I'm not ready to tackle that right now. And I was like, oh, you know what? I haven't done Castle Morn yet, which is that castle on the far south peninsula, right? And I was like, okay, I'll go do that.
That's a good like warm up, yeah.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. And I fight the first enemy. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is perfect. Like I'm really good for this area. And I breeze through the or the castle and everything, and I get to the boss door, and I'm like, you know what? Our listener Xrian had kind of challenged me to play my next character not using summons. Let me go ahead and try this fight. It's the Leonine Misbegotten.
Yeah. Oh, it's Mr. I'm gonna leap across the entire stage and do area of effect attacks until you curse the game and delete it forever. Yes, I remember this boss.
And I'm like, okay, let me do this, right? So, and I go in, and the other thing is that like I have a lance, but like I think like I was holding on to, I hadn't upgraded it yet, so I upgraded like 5 times, and I don't have much on this character, right? I basically have my shield and my lance, nothing else to really fight this guy with, and go in and like one hit takes off like 70% of my health, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not supposed to be here right now. But I was like, no, you know what? I didn't really even have time to react. Let me go back. So I went back. Second time, not much better. Third time, not much better. But then the fourth time I got some hits and I was like, okay, damage wise, I'm good. Just need to really learn the matchup, to take a fighting game term. Right. And so then it was just a process of like, okay, yeah, like dodge here, this is a good place to use a healing flask, blah, blah, blah. And, started to really play with the jumping R2 attack and stuff like that. And it took me, it was like probably 7 or 8 tries, but like on the last try, it was one of those things where I died and I was like, wait, did I get him? And then it was like enemy felled and I was like, win's a win, baby. That counts.
As far as cheesing goes, that actually reminds me, my best experience that I had with Elden Ring, the game, was actually not playing it at all. It happened in the real world. And the build up for this is great. So it was the first time I was ever playing through it. And I was playing a mage build because, it's the only thing I could play without rage quitting.
I hear you.
Melee is for people who hate themselves. I get to the Millennia fight, so I'm like deep into the game at this point, and I've heard tell, avoiding spoilers as best I can, that Millennia is hard, like really hard. Like no matter how hard I think it is, I'll never believe how hard it is.
Did you know that she's the Blade of Mikola? Because
Did you know that Mikola was kidnapped by some guy? Neither did I. I had to have that one explained to me.
You hear her say that I'm the Blade of Mikola so many times because she kills you so much.
Well, actually, I didn't hear much because when I approached the door, I was like, okay, this fight's really hard. I'm not playing like this for anybody but me. I'm gonna see who the co-op people are, and I draw my finger, and I'm like, who are the co-op people here? And I find one, or I find like 6 actually, but the first one I walk up to, I shit you not, the name of the character is Let Me Solo Her.
You got Let Me Solo Her.
Here's the thing.
The legend.
I had never, I was not looking up stuff on the game. I had no idea who this asshole thought he was.
Okay.
I thought this was just going to be a really funny time. And I summoned him and he did a little bow and I was like, yes, thank you for being here. I will very much enjoy watching you die. And then we went through the thing. And that fight was 6 minutes of me standing in a corner, using my camera to keep this guy in frame, watching him dodge perfectly every single attack, beating her with a regular sized sword. And taking no damage, just a straight sword, the regular 5-swing straight sword, taking no damage. Beat her both stages with me just in that corner. She never ever noticed I was there because why would she? I was doing nothing. And afterwards, after she was beaten, I ran up to him because I didn't have a microphone plugged. I was just gonna run up to him and do that jumping emote because I was so impressed with what he had done. And I got up to him, he starts fading out, and he just he just does like a quick emote and leaves like it's a fucking thing to do. And I was like, wow, I beat Millennia on my first try, technically, because this guy beat Millennia on my first try. Yeah, I got the achievement for it. And I was talking to like, because the reason I got into it is I had two friends who were super into the game and they couldn't stop talking about how hard she was. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I just summoned like one helper and he beat her. Some guy is like character is like, let me solo her. And they were like, let me take you to this YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Where it's only videos of him destroying Millennia over and over and over.
Yep.
There's a really great like legend of Let Me Solo Her like retrospective video that is really cool.
The legend of Let Me Solo Her is an amazing title for
there was like fan art of that character and everything. Yeah, like it was wild.
God. He's a spirit randomly in the game. They added him later.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. If you do all of the puppet quests for that one asshole that works for Ronnie.
Oh.
Okay.
You can get him as a puppet.
That's
okay.
Somewhat disgusting, but okay.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Celibus, that's his name, because I fucking hate him and I kill him every chance I get.
So starting up with that, but that's and then probably next week I'll start to do my Persona 3 stuff for the month before getting back to I should probably really go back to Rebirth before I get deeper into Dragon's Dogma 2.
I'm thinking I should do that too.
I'm somewhat biased because as much as I've tried to avoid it, the only things I've heard about Rebirth are things that are like, oh, I really want to play this as soon as it's on Steam. So, like, I'm going to be biased and say, like, yes, absolutely, just go back and play Rebirth. Like, do it.
Yeah. I'm going to be doing that probably most of tomorrow.
Yeah, because now people are getting to the point where they're getting a little bit loosey-goosey about what they're willing to post.
Yeah,
so
that is like very true.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, I know May 23rd is just around the corner. Just gotta wait. Just gotta wait just a little bit more and I'll get there.
Yeah. All right, well, before we start wrapping up, RetroFits, James, JJ, wonderful to speak with you guys again.
Yes.
It's been so fun.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Been a ton of fun for us.
Thank you so much for having us. This is cool. I'm glad that I have become like internet and social media savvy enough that I've started making actual friends. This is a cool feeling. I'm glad that we got to come on here and hang out with you guys and get to talk gaming and all the things that like are important in the world. I guess also ending world hunger and stuff, but gaming is like way up there.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely.
Indeed, I agree.
I mean, entertainment is way more important. Obviously, people don't need to eat; they can just lay on the ground and watch the game.
Yeah, that's the Romans understood that. Look at them.
They did.
Oh,
I already told Justin that if we get to the point where we can brain dance like in Cyberpunk 2077, I'm gone. Like I will be one of those guys that's just hooked up to the machine, like getting fed intravenously. Because that's where I'll be living.
Yep.
No, but this has been great. Like it's been cool to meet new people. Because we Justin and I have kind of our little group of like people that we've worked or interacted with and had on multiple times through Nerds Without Pants. But one of the things that I really wanted to strive for with the stage select is like new show, new people, right? Like let's get some new blood, in interacting with us. And you, James, had actually reached out to me first and asked us to come on RetroFits and
because we were both on the A Gamer Looks at 40 his like Final Fantasy interviews that he was doing. Right. JJ and I are both gonna be on the episode when he does Final Fantasy VI pretty hard because we talked his ear off about Final Fantasy VI.
Oh yeah.
I am meeting with him on Monday for my interview for that. Yeah. So
nice.
Nice. Bill turning out to be like the great connector, right? Like that's
Bill's great.
He is, yes.
He is.
So,
He's a cool dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He is.
I'm hoping he invites us back for the Final Fantasy IX once he gets to it, because both of us, that's probably one of our favorites.
Yeah, I think I've officially stated that 9 is my favorite, and I know you have.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it's that's been very fun. And like I told the listeners, that like after we came on Retrofits, like we just clicked with you guys like instantly. Like there wasn't, it wasn't even like a weird, like getting to know you, like kind of awkwardness.
No, you guys
like,
like
let's
jumped.
just roll.
Yeah, you guys just jumped right in. It was amazing. The two things I feel crappy about are that we lost some really good footage early on of us discovering that, we all are on the same wavelength as far as insanity being funny. Awesome.
Yeah.
And the only other disappointment I have in the episode is my audio is shit, because the same thing that started to happen at the beginning of this session for this episode happened to me when we were recording that episode, where like Audacity just forgot I had a mic and started using my laptop mic. So your audio, Julian, is crisp. Justin, your audio is crisp. JJ, your audio is crisp. Mine sounds like it was recorded 3 countries away in a bathroom sink.
I know. I've been there.
I sound like I'm constantly like going through a subway tunnel.
I know.
I'm
so sorry.
No,
it's still a fun watch.
That was my thing that I really should have just like double, triple checked before I was like, okay, everybody go. And I didn't for one of the first times in a long time, because I was just kind of excited. And the episode itself is still really good.
The fact that we were able to get all 4 controllers to work was amazing.
That was a triumphant moment. I do remember that.
Man. Yeah. That was great.
Stage Select will be coming back at you guys on Retrofits for some Wu-Tang Shaolin style.
So our next session, that we actually have scheduled, is another guest session, because the guy who runs the completely balls out bonkers official Quest 64 Twitter account will be our guest to play Quest, like our second session of Quest 64.
Please put us in contact with them, please.
I will have, you know what? I will just put a tweet that's just at the two of you and at him. And nobody where it's just like at the 3 of you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I will absolutely do that. I think people expect that level of unhinged from my Twitter account, from the show's Twitter account.
I think if they don't expect it from this podcast, they should start. That's all I'm going to say. So the next one we have scheduled is with him to do that. The one that I'm going to schedule after that is going to be with you guys to play Wu-Tang. Yeah. Now, the PlayStation emulator that I have to use, I'm pretty sure that's only a 2-player game. So, I'm gonna have to say, y'all have to choose a champion, and JJ and I are gonna choose a champion, and it's gonna be.
Did they not get the 4-player mode to work on that? Because Thrill Kill, which the game is a reskin of, is a 4-player fighting game.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
it might be.
Oh, I didn't actually read the box at all. I saw a couple of screenshots of it, and it looked like a 2-person side fighter.
I don't even know anything about the game. I've never played it, but I am just really excited to talk about the Wu-Tang Clan at length. That's
hell yes.
That's all I want to do.
Wu-Tang is for the children.
Wu-Tang is for the children. They are.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, James and JJ, like, where do you want people to seek you out online and whatnot?
So our show, the easiest way to find our show, even if there's links included in the description of this episode, which would be greatly appreciated.
Of course.
Oh, absolutely.
Is to just search Retrofits and then Pokemon, or Retrofits Suikoden. Like, our channel is still very small. I never want to become famous. I just want to do something funny that makes people laugh. Yeah. So I'm happy with like sort of the way things are, but you can't just type in Retrofits, because you get a bunch of like manly dudes doing manly things with manly power tools, and it's very boring. So you have to search Retrofits and then like a game title like Chrono Trigger or Pokemon or Suikoden.
You can honestly search one of the like Suikoden playthrough or something.
That may,
and it'll probably come up
that
as
may
well.
also come up, actually.
Because it's very rare.
And as I was alluding to, I have a Blue Sky social media account and a Twitter account for the show. The Twitter account is @FitsRetro because for some reason something as ubiquitous as @RetroFits was already taken.
Yeah.
And you can follow us on Twitter for. I basically run the account because I would never inflict the horror of social media on JJ.
That's fair.
And you could go there to hear all of the incredible
appreciate
unhinged opinions that I have and my really bad dad jokes.
Well, hey, sounds pleasant.
Yes.
Wu-Tang is 4
That's
player.
what I thought.
Awesome. Okay, no,
Hell
then we'll
yeah.
get it set up. We'll have all 4 of us.
Because you can do 2-on-2 or 1-on-3.
Oh no, we're doing 2-on-2.
Oh,
It's gotta
man,
be.
this is
It's
gonna
gotta
be
be
great.
RF versus SS, right?
That's right.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
Cool. And so JJ, no places for people to follow you. I'm taking it.
No.
Okay.
I just
JJ
recently deleted my non-existent Facebook account. And yeah. I
JJ
just
enjoys
on YouTube.
internet anonymity in a
No, you're
way
doing
that
it
most
right.
people on
You're doing it
YouTube
right.
do not actually get to do.
Yeah. You are doing it right, bro.
Justin, where can the people find you?
You can find me at Tyrone_Swift on Twitter.com, a website that it still exists. You can listen to This is Video Games, a podcast I do where I played adult content video games on a podcast where you can't see it because that would be terrifying. And
I don't know.
No, I've seen things I can't unsee. It's bad. It's real bad. And that's that. That's where you can go find me at. So thank you.
You can find me on Twitter at Julian_Titus. I'm also on Blue Sky just under Julian Titus. The podcast is on Twitter at State Select Pod. Yes.
Yes.
I always get it. Special thanks, as always, to Megan McDuffie for our incredible theme song and interstitial tracks. Thanks to friend of the show, John Gholson, for our incredible logo artwork and being our show announcer. But I think that's a show, Justin.
That's a show, Julian.
I mean, I'll just cap it off by saying I have actually listened to a few episodes so far, and that theme song's a banger.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's really good.
I might be a little biased here, but I think that it's the best video game podcast theme song out there. Nothing else sounds like it.
Yeah,
Yep.
having not listened to too many of those, admittedly, I would agree based on my own personal experience.
Yeah,
It's fair.
All right. Well, thanks for everybody for listening. We're going to go ahead and take off. I've been Julian Titus. He's been Justin Ham. Special thanks to James and J.J. of RetroFits. Woo! We've been the Stage Select. Woo! Signing off.
See ya.
The Stage Select is copyrighted and owned by Space Monkey Mafia Productions, specializing in independent podcasting. Please consider sharing the show with your friends and support us by joining our Patreon or donating to our coffee. Thank you, and good night.